everyone, and welcome to the Eaton Grange estate. We hope that you are just as excited as we are for our first episode with the, well, not full entire cast. Unfortunately, we will not have Mr. Blessing here with us, which, we are sad about, but people had to take care of themselves first and foremost, and so we are hoping and wishing him the best. But the show must go on. We have enough cast members that we will. So with that, we hope that you guys are excited. Are you guys excited?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think this is the biggest overlay that we've had. In fact, we were talking about with the admin team that this is the largest cast we will have all in one show, like one episode, which is amazing. Oh, yes, I will fix that for you, Katie. It says character.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to do like undercover. Just,
no, it's
I
okay.
play Ivy Stewart and character name.
Yeah, I know. Also, that was messed up on the other episode too, the last episode. I don't know if you noticed, but I fixed it ninjally.
Ah, I saw that. Okay.
But I will get that adjusted. And I'm gonna let you know, Haley's playing way more characters than are listed below her name. If you're like, what is that character? That's not listed under. I cannot fit any more names underneath there, my friends. It will just keep going forever. So I'm gonna have like the main ones under there and not all of them because it would just be a lot.
Just put everybody on it.
Everybody is playing. She's just playing all the peoples. But she is acting as our facilitator, so kind of guiding the story for us. But with me, as always, is Story Brewers as our facilitator. We've got Lord Viktor Ward being played by the Noir Enigma. We have Mr. Arthur Beddington, played by Apocalypto 12. And of course, we've got Ivy Stewart, played by Play Katie Play. And Chauncey Chimney, played by B. Zelda. So, I hope that you guys all enjoy. Today's episode is sponsored by the one, the only, Roll20. So thank you so much, Roll20. If you watch our Ascension show on Thursdays, you'll probably be like, what is this madness? Our maps are crazy. We have like all these things popping up. Amazing scripts that EE puts together for all of our stuff to like automatically heal and roll and do all these crazy things. If you enjoy seeing that, or if you're always like, what map are they, how are they making these maps and these characters, Roll20 is how we do that. So thank you so much to Roll20 for supporting us and supporting all our shows here. You can play non-rolling games as well, like card games and things of that sort too. So it's a super handy program if you've never used it before. And you can do it on the web, through your app, through your mobile device, whatever works for you. Also, we have today's supporter, which is Empiric. Thank you so much for supporting today's episode, Mr. Empiric, or should we say Lord Empiric for this occasion. And of course, the best ways if you would like to also support us is by becoming a supporter over on our Patreon, like Empiric is. If you are a legend tier or above as he is, you not only get to support an episode, but you get to play with one of our cast members as a GM, which is pretty exciting. There are also a whole bunch of other goodies for you. Right now, we actually have the first batch of downstairs cast letters. If you missed out on some of those, we have EE's rules on piety and pacts and patrons in D&D. So if you are interested in that, it is a whole bunch of madness. So check it out. Our show revolves around a lot of different bonds with people or entities, I would say, that you'll want to see, because I'm sure people are making their theories of what's going on in Ascension, and it's getting a little crazy. And we also will have our monthly recap over there. If you're curious how we run the show and what goes into running, a tabletop RPG, channel, we kind of share that journey with you guys as we go. And also you get a little insight on what might be coming up. Some cool things like that. Beyond being a patron supporter, you can also support us right here on Twitch, which gets you access to awesome emotes and access to our videos in advance. You can also become a YouTube member, where you not only get to see all of our videos, as like anybody does, but you also get access to those emotes. Now, if you are a patron, a Twitch subscriber, or a YouTube member, you get access to our private Discord, which you can chat with us about. There have been some theories that some of us wish were true, and then there's been some theories that are definitely true. So some of y'all have been predicting some things, and they've come to fruition already in episode 2. And now it's the time when we're all together. What more will come out? Who knows? And of course, not everyone can support us in a monetary means, and we don't want you to unless you can. So if you are not in a state to do that, there are a lot of free ways to support us, like watching live on Twitch right here, like you are, if you are already doing that. And if you are watching us live, making clips is awesome. We love that. It makes it so much easier for us for social media just to grab quick snippets. Also, when we want to do, I'm thinking about maybe doing like a montage of like our best moments, the drama as we get into the next big episode where we're all together. So that would make that super easy if you do that. You can also go watch over on our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, comment, all of those things. They are super helpful. They might not seem like that big of a deal, but they really do make a big difference for us. And then also following us over on Twitter and Facebook, and liking and sharing and retweeting and commenting. All of the things that I just said and above are super easy ways to support us in a free way that helps the algorithm move and get roll forward out there so we can tell more amazing stories with awesome characters. And with that, I think I can take a breath, and I will hand it over to the one, the only, Haley.
Hello, yes, and welcome back to our third episode here at the Eaton Grange. So today we are playing Good Society, the Jane Austen RPG, and in particular we are playing an expansion called Downstairs at the Abbey, which is created to tell upstairs, downstairs stories, as we have been telling. So far we have seen the upstairs characters together, we have seen the downstairs characters together, and today we are seeing what happens when the whole household has an opportunity to interact. So
I'm certain no drama.
Oh,
none at all. Zero.
Drama in Eaton Grange? Who would have heard of it? Between sessions, there were some very interesting letters sent that have yet to be received. So what we're going to do is bend the rules a little bit and mix in our epistolary phase with our first novel chapter phase today, which is going to be morning at Eaton Grange. So the household waking up. So we'll be seeing some letters, and we'll be seeing the way that the household operates as it wakes up of a day. And we begin at 6 a.m. in Hartford, when the sun is only just beginning to grace the sky. Farmers trudge out onto the fields to begin work for the day. In town, shopkeepers are unlocking their doors and creaking open their shutters. And on the highest hill in Hartford, looking over it all, is Eaton Grange Estate, just now touched by the first rays of sunlight. Austere, proud, an architectural majesty. And inside its walls live the wealthy and prestigious Ward family, led by Lady Lavinia Ward, the Countess of Hartford. But of course, the Ward family aren't the only ones who live in this estate. Because if you go outside the main hall, through the entryway and over the cobblestones, there is another building filled with those people who bring Eaton Grange to life and keep it running every day. This is the servants' quarters. And this is the building that has in fact begun to teem with life as the first rays of the sun awakens. In a small room at the end of a long corridor, the head of a tiny fox appears from underneath some sheets and looks at the light streaming through the window. It wriggles free of its bedding and scampers towards the room's other occupant, still sleeping, the household's first footman, Ash Bed. What Ash doesn't notice yet is that a letter, along with something that looks like a belt, has been left for him by his doorway. A letter from Ivy, if you'd like to read that.
Okay. Dearest Ash, I write you with the utmost secrecy. I have procured a leash for Mr. Elwood, or rather, fashioned one. While doing laundry the other day, there was an old belt that needed fixing. but I determined that it was beyond repair, if you understand my meaning. I placed under the loose floorboard by your bedroom door a leather leash and collar for the regal Mr. Elwood. I hope they serve both of you well. Give my best to the vibrant ginger boy. Excitedly, Ivy.
Down the corridor, the person who sent this note, the Grange's upper housemaid, Ivy Stewart, is already out of bed. What does Ivy look like getting ready for the day?
A right mess. Hair is just wild. Probably just like puffy eyes, grabbing my clothes and putting on my housemaid outfit for the day, but pulling my hair up and trying to make myself look presentable for the day and waking myself up slowly but surely.
And as she is waking up, she's looking over a note from her best friend, Chauncey. If you'd like to read the note from Chauncey to Ivy.
I don't remember where I put that note. Okay, hold on. I forgot I wrote that, if I'm gonna be completely honest.
I can probably DM it to you really quickly.
I found it.
Okay, you got it. All right.
Scratchily written on a crumpled piece of paper. There is, for Ivy, I'm sorry I dismissed your suggestion of a walk. I realize now we can use that time to plot the downfall of Ash and help my rise to become a valet. You have such great ideas. See you soon, Chauncey.
Okay.
What's Ivy's expression as she looks over that note?
I would giggle, just to be like, in a way, like classic Chauncey at this point. Also, then taking a moment to go, I think I would prefer the walk, but I'm glad to get a note from my friend Chauncey.
I love that. And we'll leave Ivy getting ready, and we're going to head down 2 rooms along, where there is a somewhat larger room shared by the Grange's 2 second footmen, Angus Bain and Milton LaCroix. Milton is in receipt of quite a bit of mail this morning, and some of it has clearly come from upstairs. Does Milton try to hide the letters he has received from Angus, or is he sort of open about this?
I don't think he hides them, but he probably... I mean, Milton's like a chill dude. I don't think he like hides the letters, but he does get letters that are not meant for prying ears. I guess or prying eyes, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Ears or eyes. So he probably like leans up like in a way that is like he's like leaning up on the wall by his bed and reading them, but like in a casual, comfortable way, but like in his head, so he's not reading it out loud for Angus to hear. Also, I'm imagining them two as roomies is like the best thing ever. Like while he's reading this letter, Angus is probably like rambling about some weird thing that is just chaos. And I think Angus is like, that's my life. Yep, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, I feel like Angus is covering off the details of his theory about how Lord Viktor was definitely a pirate when he was away.
For sure, telling that story.
In that moment, Milton actually opens a letter from Viktor. If you'd like to read the letter from Viktor to Milton.
So I'm the one reading, correct? All right. Let's get it. Hello, Milton. Thank you for the warm reception. Your kindness steeled me for the cruelty my mother seemed so eager to welcome me with. I forgot how tedious life in this manner can be. I lived free of it for so long that my skill in the way of dancing around intent has all but rusted. Outside of these walls, people are clear with their intent. The need for survival doesn't allow for the games this family loves to play. Yet now I've returned to these games. I love my sister, and I hate how my mother has placed her in a position to be my opposition. I love Arthur, but she has done the same with him, and now she encourages their courting. I am lost, Milton. I am being smothered by my rage and drowned in my sorrow, but I will never give my mother the pleasure of seeing the wounds she has inflicted. Milton, I am consumed. And more than that, I am quite fearful of how I shall respond to her slights. I need your counsel now more than ever. Viktor.
Milton's expression reading that.
What is his expression reading that? I think he's just like, Victor. Like that's the vibe that he's got going on in regards to that letter.
I like that.
I think he's not surprised because when Victor was here when he was younger, Milton was kind of his ears and eyes, and he's definitely been confided in before with Victor, and Milton would never share that information with anybody else. But he can see that Victor is maybe trying, and maybe not in the right ways sometimes. So I think that's like what's, the expression on his face kind of follows in line with that. But then he like goes back to trying to also at the same time be like, yes, pirate. What made you think that? Yeah.
So Milton flips over to a second letter from somebody who he perhaps knows less well. Arthur Beddington has written a letter to Milton.
Second Footman Milton, I just want to send you my deepest appreciation for lending me your ear and your mind earlier. I deeply apologize for any trouble I may have brought upon your doorstep by taking you away from your duties, and for perhaps simply allowing me to speak plainly with you. While such is the case, I do have one more favor to ask of you, if you would so oblige. Included in this letter are a number of small notes to be delivered to every servant of the house, merely giving each of them my thanks. My temptation to engage in conversation with them at the Countess's birthday party would have been increasingly difficult if they had not agreed to keep their distance from me. It made it far easier for me to appear in my proper station. While I would prefer to deliver such a message personally, I fear it would greatly harm my current reputation with the Countess. Please deliver these notes and inform them of whom they came, utilizing soft whispers as to not be overheard. With my thanks and respect, Arthur Beddington. Oh, P.S. Please do burn this letter after it has met your eyes. P.S.S. Do also figure out which house hand found my misplaced letter to Lady Ward and delivered it to her, and give my additional thanks.
And I imagine like lots of tiny little letters fall out of the envelope as well.
I think originally when Milton opens up this letter, when he sees the letter and it's from Arthur or Mr. Beddington, is like a little shocked because he's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. But then he's like, well, I did have a conversation with him. And he's a little friendly with people. All right, well, let's see and he like opens it up and like letters start falling out. And then he's like, okay. And he's like trying to like shuffle them around. And I don't think Angus noticed because he's doing his own thing over there with pirates. So.
Right, so Milton has a stack of letters to deliver.
And a mission.
And a mission. That is very true.
Milton does like a good mission.
I did have the one question. Is Milton going to burn the letter?
Yeah, I don't know if like their quarters would have a fireplace of any sort, but I know that the kitchen will, and Milton will.
There's
will
one in
burn
like the common room, the servants' common room area, I think. So
yeah, I mean he'll do it when no one's looking, and I mean this is not his first time burning a letter.
Of course.
Not only your letter gets burnt, but so does the one that Victor sent.
Meanwhile, as the morning sun has risen by this stage and beams across the estate, we cross the cobblestones, up the stairs, through the entrance halls to the first floor of the estate, where three children are beginning to stir and making all kinds of the noises that children make in the morning, of whom has taken whom's things, and who will be getting to go out first to breakfast. And it won't be long until they are going to be getting themselves into all kinds of mischief. And in the room that adjoins theirs, their governess, Miss Grace Clark, sits cross-legged on her bed. She knows that she only has moments before she's going to have to go in there and instruct them to give back each other's things and clean up for breakfast. But she's gotten a note from someone upstairs and she desperately wants to read it. This is a note from Viktor to Grace, if you'd like to read that for us.
Hello, Grace. Pardon this unwarranted letter, but I could not help but think on your words. Please let the staff downstairs know that I wish them all nothing but the best and would endeavor to ingratiate myself to them. It is no secret that my relationship with my family has been volatile, but the staff has always been kind to me. And more directly to you, Grace, I would have you know that should you ever need an ear to listen or a friend, I pray that you come to find such solace in me. Your friend, Viktor. P.S. Just Viktor.
I would like to use my monologue token for while writing this letter on Viktor.
Oh my god.
Ooh, that's
flashback.
interesting.
The reason for this is I kind of want to know what his thoughts are towards Grace at this moment. And with the incident that happened during our session, who or what he thinks made Grace get stuck on those stairs staring at his sister and Arthur.
Okay, so if we're kind of looking at, so we kind of see Viktor in his new room, just like at lamplight writing, and the words are coming, but in his head he's thinking, there have been very few people in these cold four walls and a ceiling that have made this place feel a little less hostile. And funny enough, none of them have been family. I don't know exactly what it was that caused you pain, Grace, but I recognize it as a pain that I feel as well. And unfortunately, I understand that you don't have the luxury of being able to express that. In a very strange way, as privileged as my life has been, I recognize what it's like to feel such a vicious hurt without being able to express it. Perhaps there is some solace. Perhaps I will find some measure of peace in alleviating you of that pain. But I can't help but wonder, what was it in seeing Lydia and Arthur that created such a stir? If it is that your heart longs for Arthur, then perhaps we are more alike than I would have originally thought. Or perhaps Lydia? If that is the case, then you will need all the allies that you can get. My mother will be a bane to your life. And since I have already lost favor in her eyes, I think that I would do nicely as a shield.
Oh, wow, what a good monologue. I love that.
Aww. Now
That
I
is so
kind of
good.
like Viktor. He's talking shit about Lydia. Now he's like, maybe got her shield for her heart. Viktor,
I love
Viktor.
that.
What is with you? You're like
All
bipolar.
over the place.
Yeah, you're just like 1 second just like talking shit, the next second like sweet.
So speaking of Viktor, an important thing is happening in his life today, but it's even more important for a certain Chauncey Chimney, who until now has been the whole boy of the estate. But on this day, we'll be beginning the trial as Lord Viktor's valet. How's Chauncey preparing for this?
So he has Chauncey, short, dark-skinned, crop cut hair, close cut, really broken, foggy glasses that he needs to see. There's often a notebook kind of smushed into the waistband of his pants with like a quill and ink somewhere. Chauncey today has gotten dressed in some clothes that Ash provided. It was wasn't a kindness or anything. Ash and Chauncey aren't friends, but Chauncey tries on the new jacket, the new bow tie, and kind of like looking at himself in the reflection of like a polished spoon. As early as possible, he's going to rush up to Lord Viktor's chambers and wait outside until he is needed.
Mm-hmm. So on his way up, one of the things he has to do is collect the mail in the morning.
Ooh. Okay.
So there are two. There is. I guess that's a question I have for Arthur. Does he send his letters through the household mail system, or does he just pop his letter to Viktor under the door? How does he deliver his letter to Viktor?
For the downstairs, I imagine he would personally at night sneakily try to deliver it so that nobody would snoop.
Yeah.
And then for Viktor, he'd happily just, after he's like up, he'd probably slip over there and throw it under the door and then run back to get fully dressed and ready for the day.
Okay, so he slips it under the door. So there's just one letter for Chauncey to pick up from the main mail area for Viktor, from somebody whose name Chauncey doesn't recognize.
Okay.
But as Chauncey is there, the Countess approaches and seems to pay absolutely no notice to Chauncey at all, like as if Chauncey does not exist.
Can I spend a resolve token
What would you like to spend it on?
that she sees who the letter is from?
Okay, hear me out. If Arthur tried to slide it under the door,
Not that one.
Not that letter.
Oh, the one
This
that
is
I'm-
a different letter.
yes. Okay.
That resolve token would actually go to Noir, since that's
Viktor.
going to
So
affect-
yeah, would
so
you
that's
be
up
okay
to-
with that, Noir? You can say no also, and we don't have to.
Absolutely, let's do it. I couldn't find my mouse for a second, but I'm
Okay.
ready for this spice.
I'm just like,
Excellent.
ooh, spicy. I feel
So
like
rewind that scene very quickly.
Okay.
The
I unmark it
Countess.
for mine, and I give it to him, right?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Mhm.
The Countess makes it to the mail just before Chauncey arrives. Chauncey is there. Chauncey can see the Countess flick through all the mail in the household, which, isn't perhaps that unusual.
Mm-hmm.
Pause for a moment on a certain letter to Viktor. And then, as if not noticing Chauncey at all, see a letter that is addressed to Arthur and pick it up. And leave.
Kind of bow a few times.
She pays literally no attention to Chauncey.
He's not used to it.
Yeah. And so Chauncey picks up the letter to Viktor, I'm imagining, goes up to knock on Viktor's door. Viktor is in the second, the room that is in the second floor that used to belong to Arthur until very recently. What stage of getting ready is Viktor at? Where's he like of a morning?
Viktor is still in the midst of his hangover coma.
Sir Lord Viktor, do you want? Would you like some tea?
Oh, so loud. Open the door so that you might speak quieter, please.
Yes. Chauncey opens the door and kind of like gets in and presents himself. What is the state of the room?
He passive aggressively moved in, so things are just kind of all over the floor. There's like one of the garbage cans is knocked over, and so he's just kind of like throwing garbage at the can.
You also step on a letter as you step into the room.
Yep. I'll pick it up and like step over some garbage and some clothing. Lord Viktor, I have some mail, and I'll get tea. Whispering helping.
I like the whispering. You're good at this.
Yes, tell everybody I'm good at this. I do try.
Okay, I'll tell everybody. Nobody cares what I have to say, but I will tell everyone.
No, I care. I just, you're really cool. Sorry for talking out of turn.
I insist that you do.
But I won't stop if I start.
Then you'll be very good at whatever you're doing now.
Good. Tea,
and
letters.
Yes, Victor. Yes, tea and letters. Letters and tea.
I'll be right back. And he like kicks a pathway. It just starts kicking your clothing left and right to create a little way to walk through.
Great. So Chauncey leaves in search of tea, leaving Victor with 2 pieces of mail. One is from Arthur, if you'd like to read that one for us.
Yep. My friend and Lord Victor, truly I'm deeply happy you have returned home, Victor. I do want to apologize that our first interaction upon your arrival was that of me playing interference for your mother. You, of course, know how she can be, better than most. I do hope we can find some time to fence, or perhaps indulge ourselves in less gentlemanly games to catch up, and simply enjoy each other's company again. I hope that life away has not lessened your willingness to lose to me, and keep on playing nonetheless. I jest. I do hope you would speak with me of the many stories I am certain that you have from all of your travels. I do ask that at least try to keep the peace with the Countess, as her mood does, in fact, affect others and her orders and decisions she makes as it relates to me and the rest of the house. But alas, I would never ask you to not be you either. I will see you on the morrow, my dear friend. Respectfully, Arthur.
What do we see on Victor's face as they finish reading this letter?
Just a big goofy smile, and it starts to hover the letter over a candle to burn it, but then he just looks at it and goes to his bags where he has all his stuff from moving in, and just slips it as deeply as he can in a spot where he thinks nobody would look.
Love that. The second letter that Victor has received has a bit of weight to it. And it is, the name written on the other side is one that Victor would recognize as a person that he hasn't talked to in a couple of years, from his theater days, Elsie Dubois. And as he opens the letter, a locket falls out. Does he open the locket first or read the letter first?
He's gonna open that locket.
Inside the locket is a picture of a woman smiling with a playful smile on her face. And this is Victor's wife.
Immediate tears. Just immediate.
The letter itself reads, "My dear Victor, I heard that you had returned home. I did not hear, however, where your home was. I don't think you ever told us. So it took a little digging to find it out. But you know me and my way of knowing people who know people. Don't think you'll slip away that easily, my friend. I have put on your masterpiece, A Very Small Gathering in London. I told you I would, for you know it is comedic genius, and I will not neglect it just because you have left. It opened 2 weeks ago, Victor, and to such laughter, such acclaim, it is a triumph. It is a triumph for the ages. At first, I thought I must find you and invite you to see it, but then I decided we are going to do one better for you. We are going to come to Hartford and put it on there. Of course, there is no such thing as a theatre in Hartford, only a hall with a stage, which will do. I know these areas. It will indeed be a very small gathering. Did you enjoy what I did there? But in your honor, dear Victor, we will do it as soon as the London run of performances has ended. For one night only. I have also sent you something I found as I was looking through the costumes for our earlier performances. Victor, you know we all loved Sylvia so much. She lit up every room she walked into. And when she was on stage, every eye was transfixed. I feel she is there with us. I can hear her voice when some of your words are spoken. I hope this locket brings you joy and you do not think on it too sadly. Your good friend, now and always, Elsie Dubois.
I want to play a resolve token for the Countess to show up.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
You're so mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
I accept.
Do I have to play a resolve token if I want to eavesdrop? I just want to like come back with my tea.
I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like that's something that, since that's something that Chauncey would is going to do anyway. At what
yeah.
moment do you want to arrive, before the Countess or after the Countess?
After.
Okay,
Dude.
then I don't think you need a resolve token for that.
We're gonna have revenge of Lord Victor because he has so many resolve tokens today. He's just
Give
like
me more.
piling them up.
So I
excellent.
want, I imagine Victor would do the same towards the candle with the letter. Is that correct?
With this particular letter, I think he's actually going to vocally respond to it and say, "My friend, I did not tell you where home is because I have a home no longer."
The Countess walks in the midst of you saying that.
I think she walks in. She looks at Victor. She looks at the letter. From your time away,
Yes. Yes. I received word that a work of mine has done very well.
you're still meddling in that theater business.
Yes. Meddling. No longer, I assure you. I walked away from that life. It was just an old companion telling me that one of the things that I've written has been received well.
Well, if you're going to write a work of theater, it brings me some comfort that it should at least be acclaimed.
People love it. It's wonderful to make people laugh with the outlandish things that people think are normal or can convince themselves are normal.
Victor,
Yes, mother. Countess. Rather, sorry.
although you may think it, I'm not blind to what happened to you. I can see that your time away has changed you. I remain to see if it is for the better or otherwise.
I'd imagine, Countess, any change you weren't directly responsible for, you would consider for the worst. And so I aim to be exactly what you want me to be.
Now you're back in the household. I have seen people turn to you with a listening ear. You exert influence on those around you, just as you should, as my son. Therefore, use it wisely. Support your sister and Mr. Beddington. Don't forget what we talked about the other day.
My silence will be the best support that I can give.
Regardless of what you say, you must have come back here for a reason. And as you were back here, you will find a place for yourself. As my son. And then she leaves, kind of like noticing Chauncey for the first time on the way out.
Hello, Countess. You're looking dazzling.
She just sort of like cogs her head for a second and then gives Chauncey the briefest of nods and turns off down the corridor.
I'm gonna peek around the door. I have tea.
You can enter. There's no need for you to hide from me.
No, I'm just afraid. It's fine. It's fine. And like he'll kind of clear off a table and set the tea down. You did you write a screenplay? Sorry if that's out of line.
What's your name?
Chauncey Chimney.
I like the alliteration.
Thanks. So did my ma.
I wrote a play with
Like-
for my wife about my family.
That's incredible, and it was critically acclaimed.
It appears to be.
Can I have your autograph? I have a book. And he pulls out his notebook from his waistband. If you could just sign anywhere at all. Is that? I'm so sorry. I think I'm being too forward.
I'm going to give you the only order I ever intend to give you. Don't you ever
Write it down.
apologize for being who you are in my presence. Agreed? Agreed?
I'm very sorry. I'll try.
An apology.
I will try.
We'll work on it. He takes a pen and he signs the book.
Great. And we will leave them there for that moment because we are going to go down the back staircase and wrap around to one of the grandest bedrooms in the house where Lydia is starting her morning. How does Lydia start her morning?
I imagine that she has like a little terrace spot outside and like it's set up with tea out there, and so she will kind of sit out there in her PJs, you know, which is basically just like another gown, and like sip tea, like she just like sips tea and enjoys it, and probably like reading, like she has like a little tiny book that she's reading, and then as soon as the people who come and do her hair arrive, then she'll and get her dressed, she will go back into her room and someone comes and cleans up the tea. Like that's her daily morning, which I know, very privileged, but
I feel like maybe it's inside the book that she's reading is tucked a letter that she is able to read inside the book without anyone seeing that she is reading it. And this particular letter is from Grace to Lydia, and it goes like this. My dearest one, you will hide this letter somewhere safe, as you do with all the others, I'm sure. Sometimes I fear that the words I write you are as the words I speak to you within my dreams. They will never see the sun. You once likened me to the stars. I think you meant that I am bright, which is very flattering, but I'd seen more in the metaphor. I am, as the stars, a predictable map of constellations that may amaze at night, but in the day is quickly forgotten. But if I am like the stars, you are like the moon, appearing at night in its beauty, at times to gaze upon us with a gleaming and open face, and then at times turned away with a mere sliver of itself showing, utterly wrapped up in another world that we who look upon it can only imagine. You might ask me what I understand of station, title, and keeping up appearances, and you would be right. I know nothing of these things. That is why I accepted that you will do what you must, that you must act the part of an arrangement you do not intend to pursue. But I'm now uncertain. Are you acting still? The man who will teach you to fence was once my greatest friend and ally in the house. He is a kind and gentle soul, well-meaning and generous, and even more obsessed with duty than you. If you had not walked with me in the garden by night, I could not blame you for wishing to know him more deeply. But you have walked with me in the garden by night, not him. And he has not seen the radiant brilliance when the moon and stars shine in concert. Your beloved.
I think unlike
I need
other
that
mornings,
young monologue
I
from Lydia
know.
right about now.
How are you?
Yes.
Yes.
Question before I monologue. Have I received that letter from Ash already? Like, did that happen like sometime the day before or something of that sort?
Yes, you've already
Okay. Right.
they're sort of contemporaneous. They would have been received closely together.
Gotcha,
So if you
gotcha.
want to have received it, you can.
That makes sense. What is your question for me, dear Noir?
I want to know what's in Lydia's head immediately following reading that letter.
I think you see Lydia, unlike most mornings, she would sit and enjoy the tea and be on the terrace for much longer. But in this case, you see her walk over to her armoire, which is a dresser with clothing, for those who don't know. And she pulls back the backing of it, and within there is a very fancy shoebox. And you see her kind of pull out the shoebox, and there are many letters in this shoebox. And she gently puts this one in its place. But gives it a good kiss before, and you can see she pats it down, shoves it in the box, and closes it. But as she's walking and doing this, she says, or in her head she's thinking, "My dear Grace, how I long for the days that we can walk together, not in private, and not among the stars, but with the sun shining on our faces and our friends and family nearby. Perhaps someday we could adopt children of our own." I don't know, I have these ideas in my head, but will they come true? You speak of station. I wonder sometimes if I must do what is right for my duty and not follow my heart. What happened to Viktor? Will that happen to me? You wonder if I'm putting on a show still. I would never tell you, but maybe there was just a glint of feelings for Mr. Beddington. But maybe he's not who he says he is. Why would someone write that to me? Now I'm confused. And she just kind of sits there looking at the drawer with the dresser drawer open up at her dresses and just kind of stare. When you stare off into space, you're looking at something but you're not. And I imagine then the rush of people come in and someone opens a door and thinks that I'm picking a dress out. And so she just acts like, "Oh, yeah, I was just picking a dress out." And she pulls one off the hanger.
Yeah, I think specifically that we established previously that Ivy actually helps Lydia out with some of her getting ready. So I think specifically as she's finishing these thoughts, that Ivy knocks on the door and walks in. I don't think she waits for Lydia, since this is something she does every morning, and sees her, choosing a gown. Has Ivy already delivered her letter to Lydia, or is she holding it at this time?
I think I would have sent it already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know would she. I don't think she would have delivered it personally though, because she feels like it's a little bit of a boundary push for the letter.
So it went in via the household mail.
I think maybe when I come in, I'll have it and I'll just set it maybe on on her armoire, so she'll find it later.
Okay, perfect. So let's see Ivy and Lydia. What's
I would like to play a resolve token.
Oh no. Okay.
You are good at this.
He's got a lot.
I want Ivy to catch a glimpse of Grace's letter.
Like the actual letter?
No, I mean, I'll let you guys decide that. That's up to you. But
like she sees me putting something away that is not the dress. Like she realizes, even though Lydia's saying, "Oh yeah, just carrying a dress," she knows that it's not the truth. Okay, I'm down with that. Maybe not seeing what was in the letter, but seeing her.
I want her to know what's in it, but I want her to see something shady going on.
I'm suspicious.
Would you be opposed to me seeing where you tuck the letters away?
I'm okay with that. I think it's okay. There's something back there, but you don't know what it is yet. Oh no. But I love it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yes. I'm here for it.
I'll move that resolve token.
Perfect.
So I would knock on the door, but
be a
then
resolve token for me then?
Yes, I've moved it to you from Noel.
So I knock on the door, but it's probably knock, 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 and the door is opening, kind of thing.
Yeah, you see, as soon as you do that, you see Lydia has a box, and she's shoving it behind something, and you hear a little thud, and then she quickly stands up and grabs the first dress that's in front of her, and she's like, "Oh, I was just picking a dress out."
You'd notice my eyes follow every single movement you did and lands on the dress that you're holding. Ooh, is that what you chose for today?
Yes, purple. I think it brings out my eyes, don't you?
Everything brings out your eyes. Let me help you. I come over and I'll start going through the routine of getting it set up so you can step into the dress and all those little bits and bobs of tying the dress and the routine that we do every single morning.
And I think Lydia does so. And before, if no one else is in the room quite yet, Lydia says quietly, "Did you get my letter?"
I did get your letter. I put... Well, here. And I'll walk over to where I set it down. And I'll just walk over and hold it between my two hands and present it to her.
Lydia
I hope
takes it.
It's all right. I did write you back. I wasn't sure if that was okay or not.
I was hoping you would. She takes the letter and she walks over to a desk and puts it in the top drawer there. Because she thinks it might be weird to read the letter that you gave her in front of her. "I shall read it later." And goes back over to where the dressing is. "And of course not. As I mentioned, I would like the information whichever way you'd like to provide it. I know it might be odd for me to ask."
It was nice of you to write me. I very much appreciated it. May I ask, are you all right? Today you seem a little low.
More just confused.
how deep have we gotten into conversations with things? Like, is it a little more
I
casual?
feel like
or
me and you have had inappropriate, like this is probably not an appropriate conversation for us to be having, and I feel like it's the normal when we're alone, but not with other people. Lydia is nicer to the staff than her mother, but in her mother's presence, she does not, or when other people are around, she's very like dutiful, I guess is the word to put it.
Okay. So I'm probably a little more guarded because I know you can kind of switch it if you need to. Well, do you have any fun plans today with Mr. Beddington, perhaps, or?
I believe we are going to do some fencing practicing at some point, but might not be today. I don't know, probably the usual.
I'm reading your face like as you're saying that.
She seems like she's somewhere else.
Okay. Well, would you like me to get your rouge and we can get you all ready for fencing?
I don't know about fencing today. I think rather not. Have you noticed, because you brought up Mr. Beddington, and I know sometimes he can be more friendly with the staff than he should be. Has he been speaking to anyone else? Abby's like, me?
I guess I would have to ask Mr. Beddington if you have been speaking to other people and if I would have witnessed that.
I don't know if there's anything you would have witnessed. I imagine you got a note this morning with the thank you that Milton passed around to pretty much everyone in the staff, and he whispered to you that basically thanking you for keeping your distance from him during the party. And that it was from Arthur. But aside from that, I guess you would assume, obviously, I had conversations with Milton based on that. But aside from that, I don't think you witnessed him talking to anybody in specific. You'd have seen that he's already awake and dressed and downstairs.
Okay. I suppose, in what way are you asking?
In any way?
Mr. Beddington is very friendly, and it's, of course, different than we're used to downstairs, but very, very polite and conversational at times. Do you want me to not... should we not be talking to him?
Well, if I told you otherwise, I'm certain my mother would have my head.
I'm making a lot of mental notes of like, wow, like Lady Lydia's like upset that he's talking to like, can I read if it's like a jealousy thing?
I don't know if you can read that it's a jealousy thing, but it's more of like, she seems really confused about something. I mean, she said it too, so you're like seeing the confusion play. And also like, she just looks like she's somewhere else. Like she's thinking about something else.
All right, well, I'm gonna... Pardon if this is inappropriate. Is there anything wrong? Is there something I can do? Is there something bothering you?
She takes a deep sigh, kind of looking around the room and then making eye contact with Ivy. I fear maybe there is something that is bothering me. But what I fear more is that I may never be able to speak of it.
From my experience, you should do what makes you happy and chase after the things that make you happy.
And is that what you have done?
I've tried. I realize sometimes it's not so successful.
Yes. That is more truer than you have ever known.
If something feels right, it's probably right.
Or it could feel right and be very, very wrong.
When you say that, it's like almost like I've never thought of it that way before. Perhaps you're right. If there is anything I can do, just let me know. But one thing I can do is make you look incredible today. So let's get you dressed.
I much appreciate, and I do look forward to hearing your words. But I hear footsteps afront, so perhaps our conversation must come to an end.
I would nod and not say anything else and then just kind of go through the motions.
And I think the whole time the rest of this time when like the other people are coming and going out of the room, she just looks like she's like spacing out. Like she's looking in the mirror at herself, but it's like she's staring straight past it.
I'm making a mental note about that.
There's some zoning happening.
I think we'll come back to what is in that letter a bit later in this session. But for now, you said that Arthur is already awake and downstairs. Is he having? Is he in the breakfast room? Is he having breakfast?
Yes, he's in the breakfast room having breakfast.
What does Arthur have for breakfast?
More often than not, he would ask whoever is working the kitchen to surprise him with something so they can be inventive and creative in their own way and whatever is easiest for them at the same time.
Okay, excellent. So breakfast is sort of a more casual, informal affair. There's eggs, there's bread, there's jam, and there is also something that has been sent up specifically from the kitchen from Mr. Beddington, which is some sort of cheese omelet that Mrs. Pan has put together. Arthur is the first one to arrive at breakfast. Cheese omelet is already waiting. And the second one to arrive at breakfast is the Countess. I think Arthur would know this from her habits, is that she kind of breakfasts in a whirlwind type fashion. Like she'll just come in, like, take something that catches her eye, eat it very quickly, and then leave. So this is exactly what she does in this morning. She comes in, she sees 2 boiled eggs, and sort of neatly cracks them open. Good morning, Arthur.
He would stand up and nod and say, "Good morning, Countess."
Did you sleep well?
Indeed. I have no complaints of the new bedding arrangements.
I'm glad to hear it. And of course, if things haven't been moved properly, do not hesitate to let the servants know. Sometimes they need a little bit of guidance or correction in how they perform their services.
Of course.
But they are reliable at the heart of it.
Arthur kind of is trying to hide a smile because he's been moving stuff himself.
God. Have you much planned for the day?
Some small things here and there. I hope to take another walk with the Lady Lydia, if I would.
I'm glad to hear that. The gardens are beautiful, and walking is an ideal time for conversation.
Most certainly.
Arthur, before anyone else arrives at breakfast, there's something I wanted to talk to you about briefly.
Have I done something wrong?
Not at all. And I think the Countess looks over to, I think it is actually Ash who is serving at breakfast. gives Ash a little nod, and Ash sort of like knows this nod means, oh, I have to leave the room for a second. So he steps out, leaving just the Countess and Arthur in the room. It seems that your relative that was who unfortunately attempted to make contact with you is still trying to do so. Now, you needn't worry. I am taking care of it, as I have been doing, and as I will continue to do. And anything that might damage the household has already been rectified.
Much appreciated. I would hate to bring harm to your family because of such a misguided member of my family, wherever which they came from.
Arthur, you are a dear boy, and I know you would only want to do what is best for this family. And I'm only telling you this not to worry you, but just to let you know that if you do receive any letters or see anything out of sorts, please do come to me with it directly, and I will take care of it. All right?
But wouldn't it apologies, wouldn't it possibly make it easier if I did, with your mentorship, of course, meet with them, and perhaps then they would stop being so persistent?
That is merely to add fuel to the fire. If you acquiesce to their requests, then of course you can only expect that they will continue with further intensity. And putting that aside, have you thought about what that might impact to your own reputation, having them visit the estate, or us go to some sort of place where we might be seen publicly with them?
Of course. I know so little of my family, and I'm sure you understand, having missed Viktor for so long, how much it must mean to be able to reconnect, or at least know from which you came, even if they are misguided and have caused scandal and controversy themselves.
I understand, and believe me when I say this, Arthur, that family is everything to me. But I hope that you will think of us here as your family.
Of course.
The people who would prey on you from afar, who would seek to use the advantages that you have gained from being part of this household for their own edification. They're not really family.
Of course, and I would hope that no one would use your kindness towards me as an opportunity to take advantage of you or the Lady Lydia or Viktor or anyone at this estate, for that matter.
That is exactly it. So do be assured, I have it in hand.
Thank you.
And with that, she finishes the last bite of her second egg and says, "You have a good day, Arthur."
Countess.
Yes?
Do you happen to know which part of the garden is perhaps your daughter's favorite?
Well, I do imagine it would be the rose bushes. They've always been my favorite, and Lydia does take after me in so many respects.
Yes.
All right. And the Countess gets up, gestures to Mr. Bed to come back inside and continue serving breakfast, and makes her way out the door. Did we want an opportunity to see Arthur with Viktor perhaps on this morning?
I was thinking so. I I would also say in a
It's
conversation.
selfishly on my list.
Yes.
I also want to say after Ash finishes up, like serving breakfast, Arthur will look to Ash and simply say, "Could you perhaps fetch a few roses from the garden, as well as," and he'd list off 2 other flowers, one that he thinks, in talking with the staff, is their favorite, and Arthur would also list off his favorite, which his favorite would be lilies.
Okay, so I think that Ash is still tending at breakfast, but we'll ask one of the second footmen to go and retrieve this. Perhaps Angus, I'm sure he'll come up with the right flowers. Don't even worry about it. As Viktor comes in for breakfast, what does Viktor have for breakfast?
Lot of fruit and a lot of bacon. Just apples and bacon and bananas.
Good morning, Viktor.
Good morning. I've been up for some time readying myself for the day. Clearly not true.
You should try a bit of this omelet. It seems to be a specialty of the house chef.
Well, I mean, if I would love to try that. If I could, yeah, that sounds great. I'll have omelet then.
You seem a bit flustered.
The day has just started and it's already been quite trying, but I suppose that's just a matter of me getting acclimated to being home again. How are you doing this morning, Arthur?
To speak plainly, are rather conflicted.
That's not normal for you. What seems to be the problem?
Family.
Okay, well, I don't have much expertise in resolving issues with family, but perhaps our 2 brains together can come up with some modicum of a solution.
Most certainly. Since you've been gone away, a member of my family has been trying to reach out to me, who apparently is not of favor of the Countess.
So of course you have to do it.
No, I fear it would harm you and your family if to be seen with this person, from what I've heard. And it's my duty to protect you all after all your mother and you have given me.
You're always on about duty, Arthur. What do you want?
Well, this is my home.
That wasn't the question. What do you want?
I want a home. Whether it's my choosing or what it is, whatever makes sense, because I'm clearly not of your blood. And I know not what it's like to have parents. Well, my own. And I would hope they would have been like your father. But alas, all I have known is this family. And I'm thankful for that.
I'm glad that you found a home here. I am saddened that this home keeps you from reaching out to them. But you're so worried about reputation and duty, you can't be seen with them. Perhaps if you're interested in knowing what they want with you, someone a little bit more reckless with their reputation and someone with a propensity for abandoning their duty would be more suitable for the task.
You know, I would never ask you to harm yourself any further, but that is quite a generous offer, Lord.
And Arthur, you know that you would never have to ask me. And if you call me Lord again, I'm going to throw this banana at you.
I would expect nothing less.
I feel like at that moment, there is the sound of children arguing outside the breakfast room. And then in a single instant, 3 children, the oldest Harmonia, middle child Thomas, and the youngest Sophie, enter in a flurry and immediately start grabbing anything and everything, way more than they can eat, as they do every morning, and then try to put it on their plates. And they are followed by Grace, who is sort of like, Thomas, use the fork, please don't use your hands. Sophia, no, that's your mother's seat. Please don't sit there. Can you move one to the left, please? And sort of for a second, she's too focused on this to pay attention to Arthur and Viktor. But then she sort of looks up and gives them a sort of like a very polite and kind of like distant, right now I am just a tutor kind of nod.
I'd like to meet you like right at this point, like Victor's got bananas and bacon in his hands with no sign of a utensil in sight, like he just puts them down.
Yeah, and like Thomas immediately just like picks up a banana and picks up some bacon, and Grace looks at Viktor and looks at Thomas.
I gave them 3 years without my influence. I figured that would be enough.
Arthur immediately grabs an apple and starts like carving a hole into one side and another side to make it look like there's a worm that burrowed through it. And he's gonna say, look what I found. And show the kids the apple with the holes in it.
Yeah, I feel like Harmonia is like, ugh, and Sophie's like, oh, is there a worm? Give me that. I want to see it.
I don't know if it's still in here, but there certainly was one before.
I can confirm that there's no worm in it, but I can also confirm that the worm was delicious.
Arthur would immediately start laughing so hard.
And like Sophie and Thomas are like, and Harmonia's like, eye roll.
If the worm chose this one, it must be the most delicious apple, you know.
I mean, if the apple tastes anywhere nearly as good as a worm did, then you got yourself a winner.
And I feel like Thomas and Sophie are like, can we eat that apple? And I think Grace has like worked out that there probably wasn't a worm in it and says, Mr. Beddington may be imposed upon for that apple, or would you like to eat it yourself?
Oh, I would happily allow them.
And I think they take it.
You would notice, Viktor, that a smile reduces when he's talking to Grace.
Yeah, he is gonna like just kind of take a beat between the two of them.
Yeah, and like Grace keeps looking at Arthur like she wants him to smile, and that just makes Arthur smile less.
And Arthur just eventually looks away and just hands the apple over, after cutting it in half and giving each of them one half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like Grace sort of like takes the plate and like also like it kind of knocks the humor out of her too, and she just sort of like sits there for a moment.
You know, perhaps it would do well for me to spend more time with my smaller siblings. I can imagine that you could use a little time to yourself, Grace.
Oh, not at all. I do enjoy the company of these 3 excellent young people. And then Harmonia says, Mother said you're a bad influence to Viktor.
I just kind of lean in. She's right.
And Arthur will also look to Harmonia and said, but didn't she say the same of me many years ago?
Oh, but she says you've changed so much.
I'd
And that you're
imagine
now
that
a
she
perfect
would.
gentleman.
Well, perhaps then both of our influence could make you an even better one. He would smile at Viktor at that.
I'm going to have to snatch that one up and hear all the other things Mother said in my absence.
And like, I think the kids are like, we hear everything. Like, we'd be quite happy to tell you anything because we hear all the things that Mother says.
I just love that the tension is still so thick. Sorry.
The funniest
Well.
one was B was like, I was like, we could cut it with a butter knife, and then B was like, we could cut it with the banana. And it just killed me. Like we're having a little side conversation over here.
Arthur would step up and ask Grace if Grace would like some assistance in making sure that they do at least control themselves at breakfast. So it would be like, Grace, perhaps I can assist you since there are 3 of them and 1 of you.
I am
thank you for
keenly watching the answer.
I thank you for that, Mr. Bennington. I know you can always be counted upon.
So they say.
Do they now? So much has changed since I've been gone.
Like, Grace is just like, this conversation is so much for her, having Viktor and Arthur there at the same time. And so I feel like she just sort of like gets lost in like talking to the children about like, oh, look, this is a special kind of pastry. Like they layer the butter in like, it just talking about cooking.
Have you seen whether Lady Lydia is awake? Grace.
You want to make it more awkward for you, Grace?
Mm-hmm.
Well, knowing her habits, I do believe she's probably drinking tea on her terrace. Not that I know her habits particularly well.
There's like silence. There's silence immediately after that. And Arthur will just perhaps I could call upon her then.
You know what? Chad has a good idea. Can I use a resolve token for Lydia to show off?
I see nodding from Margaret.
I'm fine with that.
Absolutely. I'll transfer
I don't know
that.
if it would go to me though.
Well, it's compelling you to do something, and it's not
Oh, okay.
necessarily harmful to anyone.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
else's
say. I'm like,
interests.
is this supposed to be harmful to people? Okay. Great. I don't
So
have to
at
show up
that
with
exact
drama.
moment, so Arthur says, maybe I'll call on her. At that moment, Lydia comes in to like a room full of people.
Oh,
Or
appears everyone has started.
your mother has already eaten, of course.
Hmm.
And
Eating in
Viktor and I
solitude,
were.
see.
Oh, sorry.
And Lydia will walk in and take her seat. Along her path, she like kind of pats one of her younger siblings' heads and uses that opportunity to lock eyes with Grace for a moment, but only just a moment, and quickly walks to the table and takes her seat and is awkwardly not making eye contact with Arthur, like trying desperately not to look at him.
Can I add a little bit of awkward here?
Oh, I mean, it's already awkward, but if you'd like to add more, sure.
Victor's in your seat.
Oh, interesting.
I would
Right
like
next to
to. I would like to use my reckless
Oh God.
to go to pull out a seat and end up spilling food everywhere onto you.
Onto Lydia or
Yes.
okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so what happens is the tag is removed, and Margaret, you actually get a resolve token for that.
Okay.
So the tag becomes a resolve token, and that is offered to you since that is offered to your interest. So now.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, we got to freeze.
Too much drama. Too much drama.
Too much drama.
A lot happening.
Overload.
I do want to make a statement before the spilling happens on me, but I am okay with the spilling happening.
Okay.
I think she you go to
Okay,
pull
what's the
out.
statement?
She goes to walk to the other chair 'cause she sees you pulling the chair out for her, and she says, and this is almost like karma coming back her way. She says to her brother, "I see you're already getting started." As in, like, the conversation we had the night before is
Yeah.
implied there, where you're like trying to take back your place.
Mhm.
And she goes over, and then Arthur spills all over her.
So-
I'm like, dress. Ugh.
To describe the scene, Arthur scrambles to get up because he's been so focused on the kids and the awkwardness of Grace and trying to, give Viktor attention because he misses his dear friend, that he gets up and just trips over his chair, sliding onto the table, pushing all of the food towards you in the seat that you're going towards, and it just everything, including Arthur's omelet, just splatters all over your dress.
Oh, and immediately when that happens, Grace firstly looks appalled, and secondly, to make matters even more chaotic, pops her head around the hallway and is like, "Oh, Ivy, come help!"
I would rush in and just take a beat and look at the
Just
chaos of this situation. Like, all right, I'll just start cleaning up. Like, I will be quiet and just like I'm not even there. Start cleaning up and trying to help remove food from Lady Lydia's dress.
Arthur is doing the same thing and just apologizing rampantly. And there's he's completely and utterly embarrassed. And he's thanking you at the same time, just being like, "Thank you, Ivy, and I'm so sorry, Lady Lydia.
And I
This
think
won't happen again, I promise."
Lydia is like, "Stop, just move, get away," to Arthur, and then lets Ivy continue, and then kind of walks out of the room very quickly. This
I would
wasn't-
follow.
I mean, this was not meant to be a negative resolve token, but I feel like it happened.
So sorry.
Let's follow Ivy and Lydia out of the room.
I would say before I leave the room though, because Mr. Beddington was addressing me directly, I would very much notice that. And
Yeah, that was a keen point that he said Ivy's name.
yeah, I probably would have made eye contact with you at one point, and then I would follow Lady Lydia out of the room.
Arthur will glance at Grace and just walk out, clearly embarrassed and upset with himself.
And Grace is kind of gonna say wait, but she doesn't and just lets it go. And she's just there with her head in her hands, and the kids are Sophie is picking bits of food on the floor, and she's like, can you just leave the food for 1 moment?
I'm sure one of them's eating the food off the floor.
Absolutely.
They're at
Kids are
least
totally-
picking it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's follow Ivy and Lydia down the corridor.
I think Lydia is just furious, and you can hear the clacking of the back of her boots just going down the hallway, echoing.
I would just be following very dutifully and not asking anything right now because I'm trying to get a gauge on what kind of response I would get. But I'm mostly just determined to help get her cleaned up as fast as possible.
And I think if Lydia doesn't see anybody else, she's just like, I wonder if the two of them have this planned all along. Victor's sitting in my chair. And now, Mr. Beddington, what have you... She stops, and you probably, like, run into her, because, like, we're walking really fast-paced, and then she stops and turns around, like, sharply, and you're like... And she's just, like, face-to-face with you. And she's like, what if you did it on purpose?
I wasn't there, but it seems as if food got spilled. What happened?
And then to address you so casually. She turns back around and starts walking so quickly, fast again, and just, like, keeps going.
I'm sure it was all an accident. These things don't just happen on purpose.
Perhaps not. She just, like, Lydia wants to say some things, but she just starts making, like, huffing noises and a bunch of, like, just, like, sounds, and just keeps walking away. Like,
Could it
she's
have been
just
that?
furious.
I mean, I'm gonna follow your lead, and, like, if you pick out a new dress, like, do, like, going through the motions again of getting you changed.
Yeah.
Did Lord Victor maybe perhaps take the wrong chair? It could have been an accident.
She just stops and gives you, like, a look. Like, probably a look that her mother has given to people before. It's a learned look. And she says, have you met my brother? He doesn't do anything on accident.
And I look like I'm about to say something, but I realize it's probably better if I don't say too much.
He has a purpose here. And it isn't in my favor.
Well, I'm sure the food was an accident. I can't imagine that Mr. Beddington would have purposefully pushed all that food on you.
Well, Mr. Beddington and my brother are friends. So perhaps they're in cahoots.
With food being put on people as a fun idea. Is it a joke they've played before?
It isn't the first time I've had food spilled on me. When we were younger, it's happened. But that's besides the point. It's a matter of... She just seems like she wants to tell you something, but she's not saying. She's like, can't. And from what you saw this morning and what's happening now, she just seems like very frustrated. Before she was confused. Now she's just like angry. I don't think you've ever seen Lydia like this. She's usually like calm, collected, nice, sweet. She seems really mad.
You would see me trying to ask you questions, but also it's like a start-stop because I'm like, I can't ask you these. There's so much I want to ask you, but I'm like, this is my employer. I cannot talk freely with you. I want all this information.
Yeah, the other side of it is Lydia wants to share the information with you, but she can't because it's not appropriate for you to know these things or have these conversations with her. So it's a different kind of tension that's happening upstairs.
I feel like we'll leave them there for
downstairs,
a moment, caught in that kind of loop for a while. V, what would you like to see for Chauncey on this morning? We need more Chauncey time.
Or Agatha.
Or Agatha, that's very true.
That is a fabulous question. I mean, Chauncey's been spending his time arranging Lord Victor's rooms to make it just presentable, should anybody drop by. With his own touch too. If Victor, would you have traveled with like any knickknacks or anything?
Oh yeah, there's all manners of little trinkets from French markets. There is certainly a number of posters from different plays. And it wouldn't take you very long to notice that most of them star the same actress.
Ooh. Okay, and what's her name?
I believe her name is Sylvia. She is a very tall, slender woman with fiery red hair and piercing green eyes, and she always wears deep crimson lipstick. And all of her poses are very exaggerated, like, vapors kind of falling over, being swooped off her feet, or like being in a swinging ring above like an adoring crowd, that kind of stuff.
Okay. I would like a scene with Ivy. So in the middle of like finding ways to like this, Haley, what year is it again?
Approximately 1810.
Okay, so like posters kind of covering your walls isn't really a thing. In here, Chauncey is plastering the wall with posters, putting up any and all decoration in whatever order that he thinks it goes. When he kind of catches you walking down the hallway, oh, Ivy, come in. Do you have a second?
Yes. Yeah, is everything all right?
Look. Is this good decorating? I've never done the Valet thing, not truly.
What are these? I'm gonna get super nosy and start looking at everything that you've put on the walls.
It's posters for the theater.
Ooh. How's it going today?
Amazing. Ash is not even going to be a candidate. I've already got the job, basically, probably, most likely.
Didn't Ash let you borrow those clothes?
Of course, but it's because he wanted me to win.
Well, you look very handsome.
Thank you. I do. I think Lord Viktor noticed as well, which is good.
I guess I would probably go around the room, and if there's like anything like askew or there's just little things, I would just touch up the room to make it look a little more polished if there was anything. But I imagine you did a very good job. And
small things like the bed needed to you need to fold the very ends of it. The shoes, those are the slippers in front of the bed, were to the left when they should be closer to the center. Small things like that. I think this is what's going to secure me the job, though. All these posters, if I set them up, everybody's gonna love it. It's beautiful.
Who is that?
The woman in all of them? And he walks back up to the poster. Sylvia, I believe.
Sylvia.
Yeah, not to... and Chauncey kind of walks over to the pendant that is on the desk and opens it up. Pretty sure this was his wife.
What happened to her?
Murder? He was a pirate for a while.
Did he say something about her being murdered?
No, but he was a pirate, so I just...
Yes, we were not super clear on if he was a pirate or not yet. We're still figuring that out. Did you see anything around the room that could confirm that Lord Viktor was in fact a pirate while he was away?
That poster has to do with water.
Keep looking if you find any more puffy shoes, those things.
Okay, yeah, so far only one pair.
Okay. I don't know. She's beautiful.
Right?
Oh.
I really need to find out what happened. I've been making notes since I've been here, but this is much better than I imagined.
It's been a mess downstairs, though.
Oh, are you doing okay? Yeah. How are you?
Well, did you miss breakfast? Viktor sat in Lydia's seat. Excuse me, Lady Lydia's seat. And then, Mr. Beddington pushed a bunch of food onto Lady Lydia.
That's hilarious.
She was pretty perturbed.
Oh, yeah, of course. But that's really what? Why? Like a revenge thing, or like a.
She seems a bit upset, but
Of course.
She was almost saying that it was like they were in cahoots. Maybe they planned it and
like Viktor and Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. Beddington. Yeah. Nobody's around. Okay. That seems unlikely, but I'm just gonna write down my theories. I like this.
Well, just keep in mind while you are being a valet, just the details. Folding the corners and putting the slippers right where they need to be.
I'd like to play a resolve token.
Ah.
I want the Countess to show up.
Oh my gosh.
Like the third resolve token for the Countess to show up. What is the intention behind that?
Look at Katie literally was like praying.
She wants to check up how his room is coming along. She knows staff is working on his room, and she is also aware of the valet tryouts that are happening today.
Oh my god, I've lost my job.
I see. Yeah, that would be a resolve token offer for B, I feel.
Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All right. So I think
do you accept it, B?
Oh yes, of course.
I feel like she's looking for Viktor, and like opens the door to the room, and sees Ivy and Chauncey in there, and looks around at the walls.
Oh, Countess.
And that is how you fold the corner of the bed.
Yes. Wow. I don't know what I would do without you. Thank you. I've learned a lot about folding.
I saw you this morning. What's your name?
Oh, hello. My name is Chauncey Chimney. Your Countess.
Your ladyship.
Your ladyship. Thank you.
Did Lord Viktor ask you to put these up?
No, your ladyship.
Then why did you put them up?
They're really cool, your ladyship, and I thought that they deserve to be displayed because I just think they're works of art. They represent the theater and the passion and the beauty that's gone into everything, and I just think that that's deserving of being on the walls, your ladyship.
You are the trial valet.
Yes, your ladyship.
Do you understand what a valet does?
Yes, your ladyship.
What does a valet do?
Fold clothing and prepare meals and make sure the room looks livable. Your ladyship.
The purpose of a valet is to best set their master up for success.
Oh, yes. That too.
I think she walks up to a poster and looks at Sylvia for like a full 30 seconds.
There's a lot of eye contact between Chauncey and Ivy.
I would mouth to you, prepare foods?
I don't know.
And just kind of giving you an eye of like, oh my gosh, this is not good.
I would like to take this opportunity for Arthur to show up.
Yes. Ooh, it is. You probably come in during the uncomfortable silence of that stationary panic between the two servants and the Countess, like probably arms behind back straight, just gazing at maybe this ocean poster where there's a boat and some water.
So
if it's all right with everybody, okay, Viktor joined Arthur.
I'm
fine
cool
with
with it.
I just want to make
Okay.
sure everybody's okay.
I don't want to
Yes.
join this. Can we not have me not join this? I'm okay with you guys going.
Noir, is it okay if Victor shows up after a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because Arthur stormed off, so you would have, I imagine you would have come after.
Yep.
So Arthur walks past the door in a hurry and sees out of the corner of his eye that the Countess is in that room, stops and walks into the room and goes, Countess, you're in Victor's room.
Yes, his valet has taken it upon themselves to redecorate.
I'm sure he's looking at the walls. It looks quite nice to me, Countess.
I don't believe it's possible to remove these from the walls without damaging them. Ivy, do you think it can be done?
Let me check. How did you put them on the walls?
Was there wallpaper on before?
Yes.
It's gonna ruin the wallpaper. Did we have tape at these times or something sticky? Like a sticky tack to that effect, maybe?
Yeah.
Probably a glue, more than likely.
There we go. Like the glue you would kind of paint on. Yeah. Yep.
How recently had you put these up? Has it been a while or has
No, it's been pretty recent. They haven't
Okay.
been up for longer than an hour.
I would like to play my common negative trait to, before even Ivy gets there, to walk over and pull it off the wall.
Since you're playing your negative trait, that means that the wallpaper is going to come off with it.
Yes.
As you do that, I'll start walking over, but you get there before me and you pull it off. Yes, it will damage the wall.
And then it does. I love it.
I would like Victor to show up while they're pulling this off of the wall.
That's when I wanted you to show up, so that's perfect.
So Arthur's just standing there holding a poster that's been ripped off the wall, and there is a giant tear in the wallpaper.
How's the poster?
Oh, wait.
Poster's
He
intact.
doesn't have
if
the
I can.
common trait anymore because Ash got rid of it last episode.
Oh, did Ash get rid of it?
That is what happened.
Yes.
However, I
Interesting.
will gladly pay a resolve token for this to happen. because
Okay.
I think-
Okay.
All right.
Basically,
Good
I'm
catch,
making this
though,
Arthur's
chat.
bad day.
Yes.
There was something that happened last episode that you are no longer common.
Gotcha.
Um,
So, yeah, I walked over and I tore it off, and I would like to, if I have to, use my resolve token to keep the poster intact.
No, I think that's okay.
Okay. And Arthur is just in shock and staring at the Countess like, Ivy, you can go.
I would look at-
So
I would look at the Countess to see if that would be okay to leave.
I think the Countess looks at Ivy and Chauncey and Victor coming in and is like, if both of you could please give us some time.
Yes, your ladyship.
I would though, as we're leaving, look at Arthur with like admire, like, wow, he really did that. And just be impressed that, I don't know, taking the steps to rip that off the wall in front of the Countess takes a lot of guts. So
Ivy, can you tell Mrs. Crow to contact the wallpaperer?
right away, I will do that immediately.
what are you all doing in my room? And what are you doing with those posters?
Your valet saw fit to glue them to the wall.
I'm very sorry. Please accept my apologies.
Posters belong on walls, Mother.
Chauncey, wasn't it?
Yes, your ladyship.
Can you please wait outside for a moment and close the door?
Yeah, yes, your ladyship. 3 bows before he leaves. Come on, Ivy.
Yeah, I'm like already moving towards the door and probably gonna rush downstairs to I'd be talking to you like, why did you glue it to the wall?
That's all I could find.
Arthur is trying to carefully focus more on preserving the poster than the wallpaper, trying to remove the wallpaper from the back of the poster.
Oh. Valet put these posters on the wall. Did you instruct them to do that?
Kindness.
Sorry, what did Victor say?
So he said it was a kindness what
was a
that Valet did.
I can go.
Put the poster on the table, Arthur, and go.
I'm sorry. I will make sure to amend this and make sure the poster's intact, Victor.
Thank you, Mr. Beddington.
Lord.
Right, Lord.
No, Lord, he says Lord to you, not.
No.
And even the
And he's
Countess
saying, yes,
is
right.
like,
You should be addressing me as Lord. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, yeah.
and even the Countess is like, no, that's weird. Like,
Like his eyes have not left the Countess. He is pissed.
And Arthur is also waiting for the Countess to allow him to leave, so he's like awkwardly standing there now.
just Mr. Beddington. She's exuding such strong signals of get out the room, even though she isn't saying.
and he's not moving, and he's not picking it up. He's waiting for. I'm waiting. I want her to explode. I'm being honest.
Did you? Did you say you wish to go for a walk with Lydia?
Oh right, and he'll rush out of the room.
She will. Yes. Chauncey closes the door once Arthur leaves, I guess.
Arthur collapses outside the room.
Do you require some water, sir? Mr. Beddington?
No. What's your name?
Chauncey Chimney. Mr. Beddington?
Apologies, I haven't met you, but I need to go. And he's gonna collect himself, brush himself off, pull his jacket down, and just rush down the hallway into his room.
And we are going to break there. And we will come back after our break and find out what happened inside the room.
Woo. All right. We'll see
gonna
you
get heated.
momentarily. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second part of episode 3 with our entire cast. I'm going to toss it over to our lovely facilitator, who's played many characters, and like I've said already, all the names below her are not all the names that she's been playing.
But yes, and I'm going to toss us right back into Lord Victor's bedroom, which, with the door now closed, leaving just the Countess and Victor themselves inside a bedroom now plastered with posters of Sylvia.
Was it so wrong to have her on my wall?
I was not under the impression that it was you who asked for these to be put up.
And if I requested it, would you allow it?
I wouldn't say I would approve of it, but I would allow it.
Then on the wall they shall remain.
I hope you know that I do this because I care for your heart. This is your private room. Servants come in here. They will see this. But aside from that, it shall remain within your notice only.
I loved her, truly and fiercely.
I can only imagine you must have, or you wouldn't have done what you chose to do.
When I lost her, I had friends and art, laughter. I had a life, but I didn't have family. And I felt myself becoming you.
I think the Countess doesn't say anything to that, but there is an instant look of, like an icy cold look comes across her face. Do you consider that an evil? You've made no attempt to hide your opinion of me since you have returned.
I've been trying to relate to you as your son. I've been trying to talk to my mother, not the Countess, and every time I'm rebuffed by your title, prestige, and privilege.
What did you imagine when you returned here? What did you think would happen?
There's what I knew would happen, and there is what I had hoped might occur.
If what you knew would happen occurred, then why are you disappointed? Why are you blaming me for your actions, Victor?
I allowed myself to think the best of you.
You think that the best of me would be the kind of mother who would see their disgraced son return, and who would welcome him with open arms, who would remove their daughter who has worked so hard to earn her position and to upkeep the reputation of this family, and replace her with a son who chose to leave, who chose to bring this family into disrepute? Would that be the actions of a good mother, Victor?
No, the actions of a good mother would be to see the pain that you're causing your children for the decisions that you're making. It is not so outlandish to think that you might find it within yourself to welcome me with open arms, the prodigal son and all. But I learned out there that loss can turn you cruel, and I thought that that might be a strong enough bond for us to relate to each other.
Victor, don't you understand that I have welcomed you with open arms? That I have allowed you back in my house, that I said I never would. That you insulted me in front of the servants, and yet I allowed you to remain. I have given you more chances than I can count. And I am leaving these posters on your wall, despite the fact I know that those working here will see them and they will talk. I have extended to you every kindness that does not bring shame upon our family.
Mother, you have created a household where you cannot tell the difference between insult and truth.
I will not be lectured
Of course
by
you
the
will.
person who has caused this family more difficulties than anyone else in this household.
Because I fell in love with someone that you deemed unworthy, and then I went and had the nerve to do it again. Because I listened to my heart twice. Shame on me.
It is not I who deemed them unworthy. It is the eyes of society. The Earl of Hertford should be somebody who understands that. I will not stand here and listen to you insult me.
I'm not.
Search yourself, Victor.
I am not insulting you, Mother. I am pleading with you. I am begging you to open your eyes to the people that you so willingly manipulate and control. Is Arthur happy? Is Lydia happy? Are you happy? Have you ever been happy after father?
You don't understand the first thing about what this family has been through in your absence. And she leaves.
Chauncey has his back plastered to the wall, his ear as close as possible to the door without being obvious. Jumps a bit as you exit and tries to, your countess.
I'll be talking to Mr. Mulgrave about you, don't you worry.
My sincerest apologies, your
She
lady.
doesn't listen to that, she just leaves.
Chauncey,
Yes, Lord Victor.
I would have words with you.
Yes. Like slide in the door. Yes, Lord Victor. I am so sorry.
We still need to work on that.
Oh.
What possessed you to put these pictures on the wall?
They're incredible. The art, the words, the titles, I could not display them. You had them just rolled up in little. You had them hidden, basically, and I couldn't understand why you wouldn't want everybody to gaze upon this glory. It's incredible.
And the actress?
Is that your wife?
What did you think of her when you saw the picture?
Love at first sight. I felt the passion and the beauty in every story that was to be told, just simply off of the poster. It was the expressions, the hand, the art. It's incredible. Sorry.
Take a seat.
Are you sure, Lord Victor?
Take a seat, Chauncey.
Okay. Sits down at the first chair.
And Victor's gonna walk over to Chauncey and put a hand on his shoulder and start telling Chauncey about each play.
Ah! Oh my God, best day ever.
We're going to leave them in that conversation as we need to move forward to the reputation phase. That is a lovely ending for our novel chapter. So, reputation, it works differently, as you would know, for upstairs and downstairs. For those of you who are upstairs, you need to look at your family background sheet and consider whether you have met any of the reputation criteria, either positive or negative. For those of you who are downstairs, you need to once again consider the questions of: did you bring scandal, shame, or severe embarrassment to the household? Or did you go out of your way to protect or restore the household name? So have a think. And yeah, I'm seeing a hand go
Scandal?
right there.
Scandal. Just a little bit of scandal.
Mm-hmm.
Just the Scotia scandal. As a treat.
So what does that mean? We didn't have any of these the first time we played, so this is kind of cool.
Yeah, nobody met the negative one, which no one brought scandal, which you now have. So what that actually is going to mean is that Lord Victor is going to take a negative reputation tag as the result of Chauncey's actions.
Oops.
So V, you get to think about what people might think of Lord Victor as a result of Chauncey putting those posters up and word about them spreading throughout the household.
It's cool.
What's the like they look down on you? What is
superior?
Yeah. So how would I rephrase that for his negative trait? Like
Pity? Like looking down on him in pity?
Kind
Pitiful?
of, yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
not
like
bad.
that.
And so a part of this tag also is that, and this has already happened in the story, Lord Victor is very aware that it was Chauncey's actions that caused him to be thought about as pitiful. And what that is actually going to do, I don't know, Noir, whether you had thoughts about whether Lord Victor would get any other tags.
See, I'm looking for the. Here it is. Found the family background.
Regardless, that is going to trigger a negative reputation condition for Victor. So when you get a chance, if you look at your character roll sheet, which is the new arrival, you will see there is, in the reputation section, there is 2 negative reputation conditions for you to choose from. One is a great offense, which is your actions are offensive to someone of local importance and they mean to make it known publicly. And the other one, which might make more sense for our game, is fracture. Someone close to you is appalled by your behavior and refuses to talk to you.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. May I ask who you think this fracture is with?
Countess.
I had a feeling. You were going to say.
Yeah,
makes
I'm
sense.
basically putting the decision that caused me to be, excommunicated from the family. I'm plastering it all over the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Throwing it in her face.
Excellent. Okay. So yeah, after that conversation, the Countess and Viktor are not talking.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks, Chauncey. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's so good. So
You're lucky
good.
she didn't make you move room again.
Hashtag
That's all I
word.
can say.
Yeah, I'm like surprised she's letting you keep it up. I was like, ooh. And then you still talk smack. I was like,
Oh my god, did you ever talk smack? Like, I couldn't contain myself. I thought you were going to be exiled right then and there.
I mean, he meant it when he was like, I don't think I'm talking smack. I'm begging. I'm talking to you like a person.
Yeah, yeah. You can't tell the difference between what was the insult and the truth? Ah!
yeah. B and I were over here like, woo.
Diana! Can't even.
Yeah, so I think the Countess is still considering what she's going to do about this. But for the moment, not talking to Viktor seems like a good start. How about other folks? Any other reputation tags gained? Yeah, Arthur.
So I used a negative reputation to cause the spill. I don't imagine that can give me a negative reputation by using a negative reputation.
Theoretically, it could. It's kind of up to you whether but yeah, it can be circular in that way. So, not necessarily.
I think both the events tied together give me the incompetent negative trait.
I can definitely see
You
that.
overstayed your
I can
welcome.
definitely say that. Yeah, incompetent makes a lot of sense. And I like other people thinking that Arthur is incompetent because that's going to cause them to act in an interesting way as well. For Grace, she didn't do very much, so I don't think she's going to change her reputation. How about Lydia?
I feel like I didn't do as much either this episode. Like, I don't feel like I went above and beyond my station. And then I don't think that, I'm not sure. The only one that I think that might make sense is allowing others of lesser rank to treat you as an inferior. But I don't think that happened. I think like there was just an accident and there's other stuff going on that made her take that a different way.
Yeah. I think so. I think maybe for the moment that is remaining unchanged.
Part of me was thinking that I did act, I made a sacrifice or denied my desire to uphold the superiority of my rank, but I feel like that didn't necessarily happen in the way, I didn't have to go super out of my way to do that. Like when Grace was in the room type of thing, like I looked at her, but I didn't really, right? So I don't know. I feel like neither.
Yeah,
really
maybe no change for now.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And I'm guessing for Ivy, you feel like you didn't meet any of those downstairs criteria.
No, I mean, I don't think I brought shame to the house, but I also don't think I saved any situation. So I think I'm just kind of in the chaos at the moment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ivy might get an opportunity. Just saying.
I don't know if I should be grateful or nervous about it.
I don't know. After the poster situation, I'm like, I don't know.
I have a quick question. Doesn't something happen to you if you have 3 negative tags?
That's when you got. That's how you got the fracture reputation condition. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
That's why you're not speaking.
Yep. Oh boy.
I still have Golden Boy somehow.
Oh my god,
I
that's
have
great.
3 positive right now.
Yeah, you've got
Ooh.
Golden Child. That's still enduring from last session. So your mother basically thinks you're the best.
Oh my gosh.
You might have noticed that in the way she talked about you in the last scene.
I have the welcome to stuff thing.
Yeah,
Or
stay with
welcome
us.
everyone.
Yeah.
stay with us.
All right, so that's reputation. We are going to move on to household gossip.
Ooh.
We've got some gossip that's around. We have a lot of gossip from last time that has been created but has not been spread, that is fading. Since there are so many of us, we're each just going to take one turn this session in household gossip, and you can do one of two things. You can either create new gossip, or you can spread gossip that is already existing on that list, either upstairs or downstairs. So take a look / have a think, and when you've got something, let us know.
Oh my god. Chauncey purposely tried to spill stew on Ash out of vindictiveness. I forgot that was there. Oh gosh, that was great.
I want to start a rumor that the Countess is not telling the full truth and hiding things.
About anything in particular?
I think with regard to what's going on with the family and what's going on with Arthur's family.
Mm-hmm. I think that the Countess is hiding a secret about Arthur's family.
And
Okay.
I am going to spread downstairs because I think this will be fun for Chauncey and Ivy. And potentially it might come back to Lydia in an organic way. That Arthur might be leaving the estate because he's been receiving correspondence from an ex-betrothed. I love that. So I would like to spread
Chauncey
that.
did see that mysterious letter that was taken by the Countess.
And I feel like it makes sense for it to be downstairs because there was a letter that happened downstairs with Ashbed.
I would like to spread that rumor.
Again?
Okay, is that how that works? Like I can...
Well,
You
I
would
can spread it
upstairs.
upstairs. Or I can spread it downstairs and you can spread it upstairs.
Yeah, anyone can spread them either upstairs or down.
It doesn't mean that you personally spread it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like
okay.
some people are talking.
No.
Yeah, it's known. Oof, if you spread that upstairs. Okay.
Feeling guilty about that one now.
Next
Oh,
week's
no,
episode is going to get really interesting between Arthur and Lydia.
Yeah.
If this
Oh
gets
my
spread
goodness.
upstairs.
I'm imagining that fencing match is going to be like
God.
I was telling them, I was like, it's going to be like a fencing match, but like, a parlay match at the same time. It's going to be spicy.
Got a lot to cover.
I'm about to be real selfish with my rumor.
Ooh, which one are you going to pick?
There is a very popular play that is about
Yes.
the Countess.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I was telling Chad, I'm like, just wait till she hears what the play is about. Because the chat doesn't know either. Well, now they know.
I think just because it's funny, Ivy's going to tell everyone downstairs about Lydia getting food spilled all over her. and
Oh my
that,
God.
And that she thinks that it might be on purpose.
Yeah.
I like
it.
that.
I like it.
Oh, and I'm spreading my rumor downstairs. Downstairs.
Oh, do I get the spread too as well as
Well, we're just taking
You only
one
get one
turn
action.
each.
okay.
But I will spread that rumor downstairs. But Noir created. So has everyone had a turn?
Yeah.
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 So we have one new rumor that is fading. We have some rumors that
Thank
are
God that's
fading
fading.
out. So I will get rid of those.
The Countess one is fading too, though, right?
The Countess
The Countess
hiding
one
something.
is the new one that's fading.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then there are
But it's marked as spread downstairs, so that's why I was wondering.
is it?
I see it marked as spread downstairs.
Oh, the one about the play is spread downstairs. The one about hiding a secret about Arthur's family is fading.
Oh, we didn't because Nora was taking. Oh, you spread that one, so yeah, that's spread.
Oh,
downstairs.
because you
Yeah,
spread
yeah,
it. Right. That
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. Okay. I was like,
Use my facilitator power.
I'm getting too hot right now. myself. It's so warm.
Lydia's
My
had a
brain-
hard morning.
My brain's not working right.
Yeah, so a bunch of rumors faded out. So this is what we have.
That's so cool.
Awesome. Okay, so rumor and scandal. We have one new spread rumor that there is a popular play in London about the Countess, and one new rumor floating about that the Countess is hiding a secret about Arthur's family, but it could just be gossip. You know, who knows? Who knows? So that brings us to epistolary.
I'm ready.
Yes. So we are going to start with our letters from this session, and then we have a few more letters from between our sessions that we will get to afterwards. So
I'm also ready.
Tyler said, "I'm ready first." So would you like to start with your letter?
This letter does go through the mail system for the record at the house, but it's to Ivy. I deeply apologize for my trail of reckless mistakes today has caused quite a mess for you. I hope you know how much I appreciate your dedication to the family and your kindness to show those around you. I do hope that Lady Lydia forgives me for such a reckless mistake. I am deeply concerned I have harmed all of the affection that was arising between us. She is amongst a standout flower amongst weeds of a garden, thriving in her own light. Much to it that you share with your work, consideration, and kindness. While I do not think she will hear my words as she would before this travesty occurred, thus I would humbly ask you to speak a bit for me. That you instill in her the truth of the accident, that my goal was only to honor her by pulling out her chair as I tripped. I had hoped to share a walk with her in the garden, and I had wished for our fondness for each other to grow. She is special, and I know that now. I do know that you have private moments alone with her where you might be able to speak. I beg of you, as a humble friend, as I would hope you see me, for your aid, and thus I would of course be willing to return the favor should you ask one of me. My thanks, Arthur.
Okay. I would,
Bold.
yeah, I would feel almost like as I'm reading it, like, should I be reading this? And I'd probably read it in my room and then find a safe place
You're like
to
stuck in a weird
tuck it away.
circle now. Welcome.
And I also would just be I would be envious that someone, is talking about someone else that way. Like, oh, I want someone to talk about me like I'm a flower in a garden. So
I just
there's a
realized
little bit of,
with you,
mm-hmm.
you know other things too.
So this does put me in a very interesting position.
Yeah, I was like,
Really
I
does.
see how that puts you in a different position too.
Okay.
I'm curious if you're going to tell Grace.
I'm
Speaking
curious.
of Ivy,
Okay.
we need to find out what was in Ivy's letter to Lydia. So let's come back around to that one.
Ooh, oh
if you wanna
yeah, you
reveal
left me a letter.
what was in the letter that was left on the side of Lydia's bed?
Dearest Lady Lydia, I was so pleasantly surprised by your message and must say it was quite unexpected. The thought that you wrote me a letter for the sake of getting to know me, Ivy, is quite special. I wish to not overstep boundaries, yet I am most grateful to receive your letter. You have brought forth 2 questions for me to ponder, the first of which, are you close with your family? I am indeed quite close with my family, and am lucky to have the parents I do. However, I do not get to see them much anymore since I have left home. Perhaps once or twice a month for a Sunday dinner. My mother and father run a small dairy and find themselves quite busy as well. With work here at Eaton Grange, I do not have much time for quality time that involves travel. There is a bit of what feels like family with those I work with. That familiarity that grows between people, like roots in the forest over time, is how the downstairs at Eaton Grange is starting to feel. And to your second question, what is it that brings you happiness in your days? This is a simple question, yet I find it difficult to answer. I feel there are nuances in life that lead us to what brings happiness to our days. I find a joke amongst friends or a book recommendation that transports you to a different world are the small joys in my life currently. I am searching, on the hunt even, for the larger joys, the ones that make you smile when you are alone, the ones that fill you with a sense of peace. I hope to discover them soon. Thank you for your kindness, your employment, and for sharing your rouge. That is a small joy that I'm very grateful for in my days. Respectfully, Ivy.
Margaret, you said you had Lydia's letter.
I do. It is not as sweet as Ivy's letter was to Lydia. Lydia's letter is to Baroness Catherine Taylor. My dearest friend, I write to you in a fury this day. I have never been so perturbed in any of my days. Exclamation point. Perhaps my heart is meant to be cold and alone, never to beat as a hummingbird from a garden filled to the brim with blooms. Shall I ever feel a warm embrace that is honestly and soulfully mine, and not a dutiful nor yearning for a rising station? You remember who I spoke of during your latest visit to the estate? Well, I have heard that they may not be who I thought they were, and their actions bring me to believe that this may be truer than I had hoped. I wish to speak with my brother more plainly about their friendship. Perhaps he knows more than I have been led to believe is true. Or, what if the two of them have plotted this all along? Can he be trusted? I'm weary. His words are one thing, as I mentioned before, but now I see him sitting in my very spot with a shrewd grin. I know he told me this is what he was vying for, but to do so in daylight with zero care for me? Please write soon. I fear I will not survive this house without your endearing words. Your best friend, Elle. And then, do you want me to read the other letter?
Yeah, we'll do that right at the end.
Okay, at the end.
So, who else has got a letter?
All right, so Viktor has a letter for Chauncey. Chauncey, I do hope that you enjoyed the many stories that Sylvia brought to life. In sharing my memories of her, it was almost as though I had more time with her, and she always brought out the best in me. I'm sure Mother will at some point have you reprimanded for your acts of kindness. In the future, it would do you well to insist that you took such actions on my command. I'm far better equipped to deal with the Countess's wrath than you. There is a strength to you, Chauncey. I would see you temper and refine it. If you enjoyed my stories, you should hear the ones Milton told me. Viktor.
That gets folded and put in the coat pocket to be held and reread and thrown in Ash's face as soon as they get the chance.
Ooh, Chauncey's
my
gotta talk to
goodness.
Milton and ask some stories.
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh. Oh, so good.
A Chauncey Milton scene.
We need that.
I also have a letter for Chauncey.
Yay, I'm getting letters.
Dearest Chauncey, I know that today there was a bit of an issue with your trial as valet. I can go over a few housekeeping things of maintaining a room to help you for the next time, if it so interests you. I have to say that Mr. Beddington was quite impressive, though, ripping that poster off the wall in front of the Countess, no less. I find him most intriguing. I must say, you did look handsome in your bow tie, and you looked quite the part of a valet. I'm sure that with the chaos of Lord Viktor returning, that this will be a few crumbs under the rug soon. Just like the words you write on the page, the story is to be written and the ending yet to be determined. With hope, Ivy.
He rereads it a few times, and despite the compliments, their eyes rest on, you find Mr. Beddington intriguing? Huh. And that gets placed under his pillow for some further contemplation.
Chauncey, have a letter?
I couldn't think of who to write a letter to be honest. I mean, you know what? I say that, and at the same time, here, I'm gonna ad-lib this letter. I'll write it down as I go. Very true to his form. A lot of the things that Chauncey writes and sends off has just been ripped out of his notebook, and that notebook has seen better days. So another kind of crumbled piece of paper with flowing font, flowing writing, and it is to the Countess. It is short and sweet, and it is an entreaty of apology to, let me get her title right because that is important. To the Countess of Hartford. It is with my greatest apologies that I present to you myself. I will do anything to make up for my errors, for I am incredibly sorry. Your servant of the Eaton Grange, Chauncey Chimney. And I don't think it's mailed. It's absolutely snuck in through, I imagine it'd be Miss Crow who would bring the Countess her mail. So it's just kind of snuck in when Miss Crow doesn't have a moment or when she's not paying attention.
That's very juicy. I like that. Grace is gonna write a letter to Ivy. Ivy, I feel I must wrap you up in something that you might not wish to get involved with. But you did mention you were seeking more excitement. You asked me what caused the rift between myself and Mr. Beddington. I think I must answer your question because I need your help. When you have time, let's talk somewhere away from prying ears. Grace.
I'm gonna try to link up with you at some point. Like I'm definitely like, I gotta see Grace soon.
And one last letter. This letter is from Lydia to Grace. How's this letter delivered?
It is placed under a rock in a specific spot in the garden. Where Grace knows exactly to find it.
While the children are finishing their lunch, she goes for a walk and finds this written there. What does it say?
My bright star, I did dance the dance that was strained upon my soul as we had discussed. Although for but a moment I dreamed that it was you and I, hand in hand, eyes gazing upon one another's. If only this daydreaming were to be one of truth. But alas, I fear it is not. What is of factuality, though, is that of the love in your insightful eyes resting upon mine this day. My heart, it cannot keep still when you are near, and even at a distance, your light shines through to me, warming it. When the sky is blanketed, I hope I may once again catch sight of your visage amongst the hydrangeas, for I fear there is much between us that must be discussed. And it is not signed.
Day graces Eaton Grange, and then it disappears as the sun sets in vivid hues of red and yellow. And Grace waits at the hydrangeas that evening, out of sight of the windows of the Grange.
Lydia finds herself kind of waiting until she hears no more fleeting footsteps of the help. And her mother's footsteps have gone upstairs for the very last time. Those of her brothers, those of Arthur, the children rushing. She makes her way through the hallways as quietly as possible and through one of the back doors and into the garden. And she sees Grace there underneath the hydrangeas, just as they had agreed, and walks slowly towards her.
Grace has a shawl wrapped around her shoulders, and when she sees Lydia, a smile passes across her face. She gestures deeper into the garden. Let's walk a little further.
Lydia nods, and as well, she has like the first true smile on her face than she's had in the entire day, and kind of puts out her hand as if to offer to you.
Grace takes it.
And she kind of like
Makes me
swings
happy to
her
see you
arm
smile.
as their hands are hand in hand, and
Yeah,
leans
great.
into you into the shawl.
I think Grace guides them around the other side of the hedges that will cut them off from the last part of the Grange, and says, I missed you.
And I you. You do not know the day that I have had today.
I think I have some idea of it.
Oh, and how is that?
Well, I was there at breakfast.
Did you see my brother sitting in my seat?
I do not think he means to hurt you, but I do not think he understands what he is doing.
If he does not mean to hurt me, then why does he do so? I worry that there's more going on with him than he endeavors to tell.
I'm sure he has his secrets.
And I assure you, he has not kept that he is vying for position a secret from me. He said so plainly, and apparently so visibly.
Does it worry you? Surely you're hardly under threat. And the Countess has made it quite clear what she thinks of Viktor.
I'm uncertain. Part of me wonders if I should let him. Perhaps then her gaze will fall upon him once more, and her eyes like yours. Then we could be together. But I fear that her eyes will never drift from mine, even if he were to be reinstated in her very will.
Lydia.
Grace.
I'm sorry for doubting you.
It is okay. I mean, it means you're jealous, does it not? Perhaps that shows that you care for me more than you want to say. Although you do say it quite well. I am a little worried.
About what?
Well, those lovely words you say to me. I do cherish them. But I cannot bring myself to burn them as though I would any other letters I would normally burn. I keep them. And I fear one of the handmaids might have seen me put them away. I did try to cover. I said that I was just picking out a dress, but I'm not certain. She has bought it. I was quite a bit of a disaster this morning.
Who was it?
I don't wish to get anyone in trouble, or for you to get into any trouble yourself. What if they saw nothing?
All right, I am friends with those downstairs. To be sure, I think they are the people we least need to worry about.
Perhaps. Then I gotta check if there's a rumor that's still going.
Well, with the exception of Mrs. Crow.
Do we know? Do I know that there's like a letter or an article being written?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right then.
Lydia,
It's
The
Miss
nature
Stewart,
of
Ivy
secrets.
Stewart. She's the
Oh.
one. To be honest, I talk to her often, probably unlike I should. I'm just so bored, and the Baroness never comes to visit. I have no one else to share anything with, other than you, and I have to wait every day at night to do so.
the nature of secrets is that they will come out. You can only hide things for so long, especially when they are gnawing at your heart.
And ours tears at my heart.
The question is, how? How will it come out? Will we leave it in the hands of fate, in the hands of chance to determine what will become of us? Will we take action of our own accord?
How would you wish it to come?
My situation is not so precarious as yours.
And that is why I ask you. You don't have the same worries that I do. So I wonder what it is that you would like me to do. Or what it is that you would like to see come to fruition.
Lydia, my darling, I cannot stay here at the Grange forever.
Do not speak like that.
No, it is a good thing.
How is that a good thing?
Well, because a lady and her governess, that's impossible.
Is it though?
But what if I were someone else? What if I were to join the church? Or what if I were to find some other occupation, just...
Has your mother written you again? You always get like this when she writes you.
Well, yes, she has, but it's not about her. It's that right now I am simply an attachment. I am simply a
But
function
I never want
of
you
this
to be
place.
an attachment. You could be so much more. I can't imagine a day going by where I don't see you.
I don't want that either.
So what will you have us do?
If I don't leave, then we will have to keep hiding.
I don't want that either.
None of the options please you. Maybe that is because our situation is impossible.
I don't want it to be impossible. But I also know that what my mother expects of me is... Well, look what happened to Viktor.
Is what happened to Viktor really so bad? Didn't he live the life he chose?
I worry about him. The other day Oh, I can't tell you. Or maybe I should.
Why?
He doesn't seem happy.
Well, I do not know the reason why he has returned, but I'd wager his return here indicates a great unhappiness.
And if that is so, I fear love may have played a part in his unhappiness as well. I cannot tell you any more than that. It is not my story to tell. But if Viktor feels he wishes to tell you, then that is his story. But my dear, she kind of puts her hand on your face. I want nothing more than to be with you.
Lydia, I need you to understand something, and I don't think I've told you this before. I want nothing more than to be with you. You know that, and what that means. What that means is that we must either be together properly, or we must be apart. I cannot stand this for much longer. When the year is out, I am done with it. So choose your path. I will stand by you no matter what you decide. But I can't continue this way. And the time that our secret has to keep itself safe is slowly running out.
Her hand slowly falls from your cheek, and she stands up. So you would rather give me an ultimatum?
What alternative do I have, Lydia?
To wait
This
it
has
out.
been going on for
What if
so
I never
long now.
marry Grace? What if I become the spinster my mother fears me to become? But if I outlive her, someday we can be together, of our own volition, with no one else to tell me no.
Are you even listening to yourself? heartbreak. I would get over it. But this is interminable.
How could you ever get over something like this? I could never. Perhaps you don't love me after all.
I can't tell whether you were infuriatingly practical or infuriatingly impractical.
Probably a bit of both.
Lydia. Lydia.
What?
You need to decide. You need to decide. I can't decide for you.
You don't know what you're asking of me.
I understand it very well. That is why I have kept silent on it for years.
Then you truly don't understand. I would wait 1,000 years for you. But here you are, just 1 year for me.
This isn't a future. This isn't a life together. Take that as you will. I'm not going to change my mind. I love you.
I may not be able to change my heart. Perhaps I will change my mind then. And Lydia turns around and you just hear her like subtle crying, and she kind of disappears into the garden.
I think Grace will call after her. Lydia, wait. But I presume Lydia's gone.
Like to play a resolve token.
For what?
I would like some of this conversation to have been overheard by, let's say, Chauncey.
Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh. So what I like about this, dearest Lord Viktor, is last episode, while wandering around in the dark, as Chauncey has seemed to want to do, he came across Grace, just hanging out in the same here garden, weird, waiting for somebody, and eventually got stood up. So this is a beautiful resolve token to play.
And since theoretically this result token would go to me, that means that I can say yes, but only if. And my yes, but only if is that the reason why Chauncey overheard this is because they were looking around. They thought that they saw Grace heading out to the garden again. They thought that something might be going down. And it's not a coincidence that they are out here.
Yes.
Would that work for you, B?
I love that.
Okay, cool. I will transfer that result token. Miraculously, Noir, you've gotten rid of every single one of your result tokens, and I'm very impressed.
I came for the spice today.
Yes.
Seriously, you got so many
fire.
thrown at you, and you've just been like pointing them off.
Tyler, you have a finger up, but you're muted.
Uh-oh.
I wanted to play a resolve token for the flowers that Arthur had originally planned to give to Lydia during their walk are by her door when she returns. But he didn't know she left.
I like that. I we'll get to that in a moment. Let's start with Chauncey, and then we'll go to the flowers. So Chauncey over here is this
creeping around, like ducked behind like bushes, like creeping.
Yeah, so I guess Chauncey overheard the last part of the conversation. Lydia takes off into the night. Grace kicks some bushes.
I mean, given the first opportunity, Chauncey's going to go running and tell Ivy.
Okay.
I like this. I wanted this. Okay.
Oh my
wherever
gosh, save us, Ivy.
Wherever you are, he bursts into that room. What do you think you'd be doing around this time of day?
This is nighttime, like after everyone's gone to bed. So I would probably be in my chamber, my bedroom, perhaps reading the note that Arthur sent and going through my mail and organizing things. So just sitting on the bed. And I just probably hear you like stamping down the hall, and I'm like, what's going on?
Stop, all the way to your door, and then a knock, and push the door open if it's open. Ivy.
Yes?
Are you? Oh, sorry. Are you decent?
I'm in my dressing gown, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Are you okay?
No. Are you ready? I've just. I was walking outside, just traveling, walking by the gardens, and I saw Miss Grace talking to, not just talking, but like Lady Lydia and Miss Grace. I think they're a thing, but like they're like over, but they're also a thing now, but maybe not.
Are you? My face gets very serious. Are you sure? Are you sure you're not seeing things? I mean, it's dark.
I watched it for like 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah, it was.
Where? They didn't see you?
I was behind some bushes. Just.
I'm sure you're just.
Bushes.
It was probably something innocuous. Nothing important.
Lady Lydia was given an ultimatum to either be with Miss Grace or relinquish the relationship. That's not just like a thing. That's a thing. Like,
you must listen to me.
This is scandalous. I need to. What do I do with this info?
You don't say anything. That's what you do. You do not write it in your book. You do not say a word to anyone else besides me.
But this is like.
You do not say anything to anyone. If there is one thing I will ask of you, ever, is that you will not tell anyone what you saw tonight.
You're very serious. The Countess is going to probably talk to me soon, and I can't lie. If this comes up, I just. Okay.
Do you believe in love, Chauncey?
I believe in passion.
So, what would you say you are passionate about right now?
Writing, dinosaurs, theater, becoming a valet.
All very honorable things.
Yes.
Perhaps love is different to each of us, and Lady Lydia and Grace have something very special, and it would be a shame if it got tarnished before its time.
At that moment, Ivy, who's facing the window, because I imagine Chauncey's facing the other way, can see that at the edge of the garden, Grace has kind of come over and is looking in Ivy's window to see if she is still up and or free, and kind of like looks out, sees that there is somebody in there, and kind of just like ducks behind a bush.
I would notice you and grab Chauncey's hand, and if there's anything you will do is just not right now say anything about it. Some secrets you just don't tell.
I don't understand, but I'll do this for you.
Do you trust me, Chauncey?
I do.
I just hope that you know that I do try to do the best I can, and with some things I don't always share. There's a reason they meet at night in the garden.
Is it a kiss?
Amongst other things.
I thought so.
I'm trusting you to do what's good for them.
Okay, yes.
I believe in you, and I'm excited to see you get that valet job.
Thank you. And my ties, or my bow tie is doing really good. It's really selling all of me.
I've never seen you look better.
Thank you. Did I interrupt? Or you were reading?
No, but I actually do. I'm getting a little hungry, so I might head back for a quick glass of milk, and then I will return.
Yeah. Okay. I should get going. I've got more hedges to trim. I wasn't really trimming hedges. I'm gonna go though. Good night.
Good night, Chauncey. And I'm gonna get up, and in my nightgown, I'm gonna go find Grace outside.
Great. Before we get to that, Lydia heads back to her room. What can you describe, Tyler, exactly what she sees? You're muted.
There's a vase with 3 roses, 3 lilies, an assortment of the staff's favorite flowers throughout the garden. I'm sure it's a variety. It's not just one person's favorite from the staff. And alongside it is a small little note that simply says, "My deepest apologies for my clumsiness today. It seems my heart skipped a beat this morning. Arthur."
How does Lydia react to this?
I think she picks it up. She's angry at first, and so she just like scoops up the flowers and brings it into the room and doesn't really look at the note until actually quite a bit later. I think her first reaction in an angsty, horrible, first broken love, you see her pull open the wardrobe and pull back the hidden board piece. She takes the full box and just shoves it into the fireplace, tears streaming down her face. And then she turns around and sees the flowers again and walks like slowly over and reads the note.
Can I play a resolve token to have some remnants of these letters get burned?
I'm down with that.
Thank you. That
but
token's
only
for you.
if nothing says who it's come from.
Deal.
Okay. Then that works for me. And I think she just takes the paper from Arthur and rips it in half and throws it into the fireplace as well. And you just see her like dive into the bed, doesn't even change her dress, and you just see her like crying into her pillow.
Meanwhile, outside.
She's a drama queen. Have you met her mother?
This is very, very true. I think Ivy knows where to find Grace. I don't think like this is not normal. This is clearly emergency beacon.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that this is where they sometimes chat during the day, during a break, where it is normal to have a conversation. And so Grace is there. She's clearly upset. She has clearly destroyed some shrubberies, and she's pacing.
Grace, what happened?
Also, can I play a resolve token that Chauncey stays behind because he hears Ivy speaking to someone and stays to listen to the conversation?
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are okay with that. Okay.
Yeah, I love people being like paying resolve tokens for Chauncey over here.
I got 6 of them. I need to spend them on somebody. And I feel like Chauncey getting some juicy stuff sounds good to me.
I am here for this.
No, I like it. Yes. So, sorry. Can you repeat what Ivy said when she arrived?
Grace, what happened?
I'm sorry to. I'm sorry.
Chauncey heard and came into my room and told me, and I made Chauncey promise to not tell anybody else, but did you end it?
Jesus. And I think Grace sits down, even though it's very inadvisable in her dress, and it's definitely going to get full of dirt. She just sits down on the destroyed shrubberies and kind of rubs her head through her hands. I think I ruined everything, Ivy.
Why do you say that? What happened?
I told her I couldn't wait that much longer. But I can't.
I don't blame you.
She said that I didn't really love her. And then she stormed off.
I would sit down in a huff kind of next to you in my nightgown, just getting it full of grass and dirt. It seems hard when other people you care about don't notice the sacrifices you have to make for how much you love them. Keeping this a secret must be killing you.
I think Grace kind of looks down at the ground. It's not keeping the secret. It's living like this. It's always having just the smallest part of what you want, but never being able to have the whole. It's like seeing water but never being able to quench your thirst, or it's a sort of torment.
I understand that more than you might know. I do believe Lydia loves you. I feel like when I talk to her, she's trying to force herself to do what's right with duty, but I think her heart is with you.
What's the point of it if she's not going to do anything? The Countess is intent on her and Mr. Beddington, and if she doesn't do anything, then it will happen. I will have to be here, and I will have to watch that.
I don't think it's unfair for you to say how you feel. It's disappointing when someone throws it back in your face.
Would you have said how you feel?
I get nervous. I know one of your secrets, so maybe it's time you know one of mine. You know Chauncey?
Yes.
I grew up with Chauncey. We've been together for years. I love Chauncey. But Chauncey doesn't love me.
Oh.
Chauncey's more concerned about the book or the valet position, that I am a fading light in the background.
And they know how you feel?
Perhaps I haven't said it in so many words, but I feel I shouldn't have to say the words. I want to be the person that somebody wants without me asking.
I understand. And I think if you will let her, this is when she sort of returns the reassuring squeeze that Ivy gave her.
I think it will work out with Lydia. Mr. Beddington. I believe Arthur has very real feelings for her. And I will say it's not fair to lead someone along like that if you have no intention of doing anything about it.
I suppose at the end of the day, they will do what they will upstairs. We're just here to watch the fallout of it all.
Which reminds me, you wrote me a letter about, if you're okay telling me what happened between you and Arthur.
Yes, it'd be a good distraction from all this at any rate. Although, I suppose I will be asking you if you do not wish, if you would be able to help Arthur, which after your recent statements about him, you might not agree with. But I assure you, he is trying his best. He is trying his best as well. You see, I took it upon myself to want to find out more about Arthur's family. He mentions it so often, the fact that he has no one in the world, the fact that he doesn't know what became of his wider family, is outside of the household. And I might have made some inquiries and written some letters without asking him first. Anyway, I got an answer to one of my letters. The problem is that the Countess found out about it. She doesn't know that I sent the letter, but she saw the letter to Arthur. Apparently, the person who wrote it is some kind of scandalous or unsavory individual.
You had good intentions, though, of finding his family.
I don't think that it matters if this person is scandalous or unsavory. Surely, Arthur has a right to know who his family is. That is just my view. What do you think?
Sometimes I wonder if I would want to know or not about certain things, but I suppose with time, all gets answered in the sense of maybe Arthur would meet this family member and it would complete some part of him that he's always felt like he was missing. Everything's always about reputation and who's who. Doesn't feel real half the time upstairs.
Yes. Exactly.
It's like they play pretend and they forget the humanity behind titles.
That's why I wanted to ask if you would help. I know that this person is still trying to write to Arthur, but none of the letters are getting to him. I would know if they had.
So you want me to, sneakily maybe find the letters before they go and get sorted, perhaps?
Well, it seems to me that letters that come into the household ought to be given to the person who they are addressed to.
I would say so. And I would be not doing my job if any letters were to go missing.
That's exactly what I think too.
I feel that part of me is curious what will happen, but also I do feel like everybody has a right to know their story.
I feel like Arthur feels that he is stuck in this place, in these walls, in this position that he has been put in by being taken into this family. And if nothing else, I hope that this will enliven him to the fact that his life belongs to his life is in his hands. It is not property of the Countess, nor of Eaton Grange.
And
I wish I could say the same for Lydia, but I'm not sure that would be true.
Are you okay?
Another day, another drama.
I believe in love and true love, and I really do feel that you and Lydia have that. And I feel in my gut, which is right most of the time, that this will work out.
I am grateful beyond belief to have you right now.
I don't know what I would do. You keep me sane here. I just want to keep Chauncey from telling anyone. I don't want them to put it in a book. Some things are fun, like Lady Lydia getting food spilled all over her. That's fun to read about. People's hearts is where I draw the line.
Thank you, Ivy.
Well, thank you for trusting me.
And I feel like we'll leave them there. We need to see some Arthur, I feel. Is there something you have in mind, Tyler, for what you'd like to see for Arthur?
Well, there's an interesting conversation happening in chat. I had said Arthur is awake and his light is still on in his room.
Mm-hmm.
But Maggie asked if we were rich enough to have ice cream.
Because it has existed.
Yeah? Yes?
Yeah.
It exists.
Yeah, it did. Look,
Yeah.
you don't get much richer. So if there's a reason why you would want ice cream, I think
We were
I think
jokingly
that you
saying
got it.
that it'd be funny if Lydia ended up in the kitchen to get ice cream because of a broken heart. But Arthur went to the kitchen. I don't. You say why you would be going to the kitchen.
He would be getting a snack because he's planning on not sleeping tonight. He can't sleep after the awful day that he has.
Oh, okay.
Great. Okay.
Like we accidentally arrive in the kitchen at the same time for the same snack type of situation.
Yes, and then there's just the cook, Mrs. Pan, half asleep, being like, "Why are these rich people in my kitchen so late at night?" I like that. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
She's yes, I think like as Lydia has come down, Mrs. Pat is like gone to get the ice cream from like the cold room, which is like a separate room that you have to go down into.
I think Lydia's sitting on a stool. She's done this before, probably when she was like a little kid. So she's been doing this since she was a little kid, like late night when she's upset.
Arthur is already like by the cold room debating whether he should go in and get the thing he's looking for himself. And
Yeah,
he'll simply say, "Why are you still awake? Shouldn't you be in bed?"
You're saying it to Lydia or to Miss Pan?
To Miss Pan.
Lady Lydia's in the kitchen. Well, I think because it's really late at night, she will call you by your first name. She's like, "What do you want, Mr. Arthur? I'm going in anyway. No need to be polite with me."
I can get it myself. You should be in bed.
What do you want?
I was going to get some ice cream myself.
Well, glorious. That means just one trip for me, and that's all the easier. You go wait with Lady Lydia. I'll be right there.
he'll just like nod. And what Lady Lydia sees when Arthur walks in, he's very awkward and uncomfortably like has his head down and is like walking towards where you are.
And I think what you see is Lydia kind of like hovered over a stool, her hands like on her head and her face like in her palms.
He'll
She's just
choose
like looking down.
He'll choose the seat farthest from you and sit in it and say, "Good evening, Lady Lydia."
She kind of looks up from her hands and says, "What are you doing here?"
"I can't sleep."
It appears you're not alone in that.
I hope you know that this morning was not supposed to go that way. It was...
How did you plan it to go, Mr. Beddington?
I was merely trying to pull out your seat, and I tripped. I was distracted, and I'm sorry about your dress.
There are many more.
I'm sorry if I insulted you with my accident.
Was it?
How could it be anything else?
How?
You
You and my
expect that-
brother sharing butter, whilst he sits in my chair, laughing.
I'm sorry, I didn't pay attention to what chair he was sitting in. I was merely talking with somebody I've known my entire life as a friend.
Who's been gone for 2 years.
Who's had reason to be gone.
Yet he hasn't shared those reasons with me.
You think he wanted to leave?
Sometimes I want to. Perhaps he did. What of it?
There was some disagreement between him and your mother in matters of his heart. And all I know is he couldn't stay any longer. He was forced out. It was not really his choice.
I care not of matters of the heart anymore.
Oh, really? And you would think that I would insult you, so having already started to express my feelings to you that were just now growing.
Were they? Or is it not that the two of you...
Do you think I bend to the will of your brother? Of
you
all
not?
people.
You've been friends for so many years. You never once spoke to me. And here you are now, all of a sudden.
I
Has he
never
returned?
once thought you would have wanted to speak to me anyway.
Perhaps not.
I'm not your family. I was not born of your mother and your father.
Yes,
Father
you speak
being
of that
the-
all the time. Yet here you are, in Mother's favor. More favored than my brother.
And what is favor worth when you make mistakes such as myself? And just get scolded for them.
Your scolding from my mother is nothing of that my brother and I have endured.
And I'm aware of that, as your brother has let me know. And it's only my apologies that I have just recently learned of yours in our walk in the garden. I'm insulted that you think I would lie to you about something that I'm merely trying to discover for myself, which is where my heart would lie. Where my beats of life would carry me into the arms of whoever or whatever I would call home.
How am I to know that you speak the truth, Mr. Beddington? I rarely speak to you. I barely know you, yet you live in my home. Hello, sorry. My internet completely crashed.
Back
Again.
in at a very important and dramatic moment.
Yeah.
Tyler, are you able to just repeat the last thing that Arthur did right then?
He said, if you would allow me, and he reached out his hand and approached you. He's basically, you had just asked, how can I know that you're telling the truth?
Yeah. Is there an echo? Someone was saying there's an echo. Okay. I think when you offer your hand, she kind of looks to you and she says, "No, you may not. But you can speak words. If Miss Pan comes in here and you're holding my hand, what will they say?"
Understood. But the words will lack meaning without what I was going to do.
She looks at you questioningly, like, "What are you going to do to my hand?"
I was just going to put it on my heart.
Still confused.
In nature and in life, the one thing that I've noticed is that the music of the human soul beats within us all. And the greatest way to tell whether somebody is telling the truth is to feel the beat of the music that is their soul. There's a rhythm to my heart. And I would hope that of all things, all I do is speak the truth. I would not lie or deceive or aim to harm anybody in any such way, only to honor them in my mind and in all of my actions that I take. Duty may be the only thing that I know and what I've been taught, but I strive to learn more of what I am meant for this world and what it is that flows through my veins that reach out and extend across my being and my soul. Getting to know you in that brief walk was a grace that I did not expect. A spark of something inside me that I was unknown. And would that have been the same if we had spent more time together growing up, or if I just seemingly grown near you, never to know you? But there's a curiosity and a passion to figure it out, what it is that drives you, and what I can do to help you get to where it is that you would want to be. Spoken from the only experience that I have of you not being allowed to partake in the games of me and your brother, I merely offered an opportunity to fence, and an opportunity for us to take walks, an opportunity to learn and see what it is that this feeling is.
Before Lydia can reply, Mrs. Pan returns. We've run out of strawberry. It'll have to be lemon for you too. And she scoops 2 serves of lemon sorbet and pushes it across the counter towards Arthur and Lydia. And looks from one to the other. I know those eyes. I was interrupting something, wasn't I?
Thank you, Mrs. Pan.
Thank you for the ice cream.
No problem. And now I'll just be back off to bed. Someone like me don't really see or hear very much.
Lydia puts a scoop of ice cream in her mouth and shakes her head. Uh-oh. I'm not crashing, right? No.
No.
She's
freezing.
I think it's
Okay.
just Haley that's frozen.
Yeah.
I'm getting freaked out. And Lydia looks to Mr. Beddington and says, "You're very good with your words, Mr. Beddington. But words can be soured. And although you speak of music, and the music of one's heart, I do not play music well. Perhaps that is why my heart shall never find a composer such as you speak of. I offer an olive branch then. Not of words, but of action. Prove it. Defend me. Words can say things, and I will let you know that I have meant... She sounds frustrated, just babbling a little bit. I've heard many a word in my time, from suitors of all sorts. But no one has fought for me. Truly. To defend me. You watch as my brother sits in my chair. Yet you do nothing. But say words to me as though you care for me and you would like to see me where I belong, where I want to be. Yet, have you asked?
That is what I hope to have done today. Or what was the day. My lady.
Perhaps there'll be another day then.
One would hope that there always is.
I worry that the days grow grimmer.
I would hope that those tides would change.
Why? Why? What makes you believe that I deserve any of that? To see the ocean rise, to watch as it descends.
Because I've never seen you do anything ill towards anybody.
Well, I assure you I have.
We all
Just as
make
I'm
mistakes.
certain you have. None of us are without sin.
It's true.
At that moment, as there's one very short scene I do want to fit in this episode, and that will be our last scene for today, and that is going to be the Countess summoning Chauncey.
Oh boy, Chauncey, good luck.
Yeah, good
Yep.
luck. This is at the same time of evening. Don't get me wrong.
Oh my god. Oh
What?
no.
Oh,
that's
Oh,
worse.
yeah.
The Countess has not been doing much of the sleeping. Clearly she could not sleep.
Mhm.
And so Chauncey is summoned. She's in her study. She calls them in. She's got the letter that Chauncey has written in front of her on her desk.
Your ladyship, I make myself available.
I received your letter. Did you mean it, the words that you wrote, or are you merely trying to appease me after today's episode?
No, truly. I think I've done a good job of establishing myself at Eaton Grange, and I think if I could extend my services to you, it would truly ingratiate myself. I'm very grateful to be here, your ladyship.
Yes. You understand that I am the ultimate authority in this household. Whatever my son might say, whatever Mrs. Crow might say, my word is final.
Yes, your ladyship, I understand that.
I need somebody who I can trust. And the person who is looking after my son must especially be that person.
Of course, your ladyship, that makes so much sense.
I understand that you are competing with another footman for this position.
Yes, Mr.
Yes, I don't really care.
Bed. Oh.
If you would prove to me that you are the person that I need by Lord Victor's side, that you will help himself conduct himself as the son of a countess should.
Yes.
And as this family requires, then I can resolve the outcome of this little competition for you.
Truly, that's all you ask, is just to ensure that your son is presenting himself as you see
Understand.
fit.
This is no small ask.
Yes, your ladyship, I understand.
Good. All right. Then we understand each other.
Yes, your ladyship.
You can go now.
Thank you, your ladyship. Sweaty palms.
Chauncey?
Yes, your ladyship.
We'll keep this between us until I see how you perform.
Thank you, your ladyship. Yes, thank you.
Good. Close the door.
Oh, sweaty palms. Gets his notebook out to write it down and then remembers. No, okay, that's can't. Okay, it's fine. Love, duty, and Lord Victor. Okay, yeah. And then hurriedly walks back to the servants' quarters.
I wish we had more time because I really want a monologue from Chauncey. Like, I have two very big questions. But perhaps we'll hear about it in the after show. Because we do have kind of a hard cutoff here that we do need to wrap up because we want to make sure that we have an after show for you all. But thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode with almost our full cast. I don't know if we could have handled Ashbed and Angus in here. I feel like chaos might ensue once those two join. But of course, as always, we do want to thank you all for watching, and thank you to our supporter, Roll20, who obviously is one of the people who basically helps us pay and afford to pay for our cast. So we really appreciate that. If you watch our Thursday Ascension show and you're like, hey, how do they do all the maps and cool token things? That is how we do it, is through that. So we appreciate Roll20 very much. And of course, our supporter from our Patreon is Empiric. Thank you so much, Empiric, for supporting us. But before we go into all of the other shilling, I do want to give our cast an opportunity to say where you can find them at. So without further ado, we will kick it off first and foremost with our facilitator who plays a ton of characters here today. Haley, where can people find you at?
Yeah, so you can find me at Storybrewers, or if you search Storybrewers Roleplaying, you can get this and all our other games at storybrewersroleplaying.com. And we also do have another few games that are on Kickstarter at the moment called Little Box Journeys, which are one-shot games in neat little boxes. So check that out too if you have time.
And next up we have the Noir Enigma, who plays Lord Victor, and Petunia Clark, who we have not heard from today, but we talked about today.
Yeah.
Where can people find you at? What are you up to when you're not sitting in the wrong chair?
I mean, that's a matter of perspective. It's gonna be my chair again. So you can find me all over the internet as the Noir Enigma. That's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And in the next hour, you can find me over on Stella Luna's channel for the finale of our Urban Shadows game.
Awesome. And we have Chauncey Chimney, Agatha Crow. Where can we find you, Miss B. Zelda?
Yes, as always, you can find me on Twitter as @B_Zelda, podcaster, streamer, TTRPG writer, and community manager for D&D Adventures League. But tomorrow I am running Thirsty Sword Lesbians on
game.
Q Times. It is so good, and I've just made it as gay as possible for Mother's Day, because why not?
Awesome. And hopefully they'll get just as juicy of information as Chauncey did today.
I think so.
Next up, we've got Ivy Stewart and Percival Blakely, played by Play Katie Play. Where can people find you at when you're just not being the sweetest? I mean, let's be
Wanna
honest,
be loved.
IRL, she's also the sweetest.
I'm Katie Peters Plays on Twitch. We are raising money for St. Jude this month and playing Alien Isolation right now, so it's been a fun time over there. On my podcast, I do tabletop, I do all sorts of things, and you can find me on Twitter as Play Katie Play.
Of course, last but not least, we have Arthur Bennington, Catherine Taylor, played by Apocalypto 12. Where can people find you at when you're not getting caught in the middle of a mess?
You can find me all over social media as Apocalypto_12. But in particular, you can find my podcast, Go My Favorite Sports Team, on Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon. Just was editing the episode earlier today, so that should be fun. But yeah, check me out. I'm Tyler Scheid everywhere, Apocalypto_12, all the places.
Right, and I am Margaret Crone. You can find me at Margaret Crone in all of the places. I do lots of things on the internet. If you want to keep up with me, that's the best way to keep up with me. I also make games and video games for a living. I'm currently working on a project called Ashes of Creation, and you can find it at Ashes of Creation in all of the places. And I'm working on the advanced version of Witches and Spellcrafts. So if you like that game, but you would like it with a little bit more rules heavy, this might be the game for you. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode and you've been enjoying this show and you'd like to see us continue to tell more lovely stories and be able to pay our wonderful casts as we do so, the best way to support us is over on our Patreon, similar to Empiric, who is our supporter today. Not only do you get to support us, but you also get really cool rewards in return, and one of those is supporting an episode and getting to play in a private GM'd session with one of our cast members. And of course, we also have a whole bunch of goodies over on our Patreon. Right now, there's the first batch of downstairs cast letters. Not all of them were read today, nor were, I think all the first episode ones might not have all been read yet either. Maybe. But you get like a little inside of what's been going on throughout the weeks prior to them actually coming to fruition. And of course, EE's rules on piety, pacts, and patrons are up as well. So if you are an avid watcher of Ascension, you should check that out, because it might enlighten you and your theories that you might already have going on. And of course, we have our monthly recap up, and we have a new one coming for this month soon. So if you're interested in how Roll For It works, what's going on the inside, that's the best way to do so. You can also become a Twitch sub right here, which you get access to videos early and access to cool emotes. Over on YouTube, you can become a member where you get access to those cool emotes as well. And if you are a patron, a Twitch subscriber, or a YouTube member, you get access to our private Discord where you can chat with us in between episodes, and maybe we'll give you some information. Probably not, but we do like having chats with you about your interesting theories. Some of you have been right about theories. Others of you are wrong, but we wish you were right, because those are some good ideas. And of course, not everyone can support us monetarily, and we don't want you to if you can't. So there's a lot of free ways to support us. Obviously, the first and foremost is watching us live on Twitch and helping us by making clips. The other is watching over on YouTube. You can still do this even if you watch us live on Twitch. You can go rewatch it on YouTube, and subscribe to us over there, like and comment, as well as follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and like and share and retweet and comment. All of those things help the algorithms move and get Roll For It in more people's hands, so that we can continue to tell more stories to more people. And of course, with that, we are going to wrap up today's episode and record an after show that will be up on our Patreon. So if you would like to see that, I mean, you probably do. So, you should head on over to the Patreon. And we will see you next episode for the Upstairs Only cast, which seems like a lot of things are brewing. And then we will have the Downstairs Only cast, and then we will have 2 episodes with everyone together. So get ready for some crazy action as we get to, the climax of our story here at the Eaton Grange estate. We will see you all next week. Toodles.